Welcome back, motherfuckers. I am excited to be here with you. And we're going to get right into this. I haven't quit podcasting. I haven't died, clearly, because we are, right? No, here's what happened. I've been concentrating on drums, trying to get my shit together. Bunch of guests ended up canceling because of COVID. Yes, they were all vaccinated. Every single guest that is canceled on me was vaccinated. And yes, 2 of them did get hospitalized. Take that with whatever fat grain of salt you want. I don't really care. I just don't care what anybody thinks about this shit anymore. But no time to waste. Let's get into it. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Shooter Lube, America's best gun care system. This is shit that I use, and I was fucking around with my gun earlier today, and I noticed that there's some, I don't want to call it corrosion or rust, but that's exactly what it looks like. It's actually on the outside of the gun because I haven't shot it in a while. I think it's just needs some love. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Shooter Lube military grade cleaning solvent. I'm going to get deep into the pores of the metal. I'm going to clean that carbon buildup. Yeah. And I'm going to feel good knowing. No, I'm not reading that line anymore. But bottom line, here's the deal, you guys. Your firearm maintenance shouldn't be banished to the garage or outside because of harsh chemicals and smells that other solvents use. This is something that some wives will make you do, is go to the garage, go outside. Yeah. Anyways, the Shooter Lube military grade cleaning solvent, it's odorless. There's no water. It fully evaporates, leaves no residue, no hazardous ingredients per the APA, has a high flash point, non-corrosive. It does not freeze, and it's non-flammable. Once I'm done with that and I got everything all cleaned up, this is a 2-stage cleaning system, guys. So then I'm going to use the weapons oil and the I hope you like that burp. Shooter Lube Extreme Weapons Oil. It's built different with the new cutting edge technology. Oh, excuse me. With the new cutting edge technology, this new gun lubrication. It's not like other gun oils that just sit there on the surface. You guys know the Extreme Weapons Oil penetrates deep into the pores of the metal. Oh, yeah. It forms a bond on and in the metal that doesn't wipe off, wear off, melt, or evaporate with heavy use. Okay, now here's the deal, guys. It's biodegradable, non-flammable, non-toxic. It's 100% synthetic. It has a low odor. It's non-staining. And it offers rust and corrosion protection. That's kind of what I was talking about. It also reduces wear and friction. Obviously, it's fucking lube. That's what all lube does. It reduces friction. This is not sex stuff, so keep it away from all your sex holes. Okay, Shooter Lube is offering free shipping on all orders over $35. Go to shooterlube.com and join the revolution by using promo code SINGER to save yourself 15% at checkout. This episode of the podcast is also sponsored by Werner Elements, your partner in growth. Listen, guys, you need a website, social media, and some other way to best represent yourself these days and break out from the crowd. I've been talking about this for a long time on this motherfucker, okay? Every single one of us has some sort of side hustle, whether you're doing a podcast like I am, or you're a musician like I am, or maybe you're a painter or an artist like my wife, maybe you're a graphic designer. It doesn't really fucking matter what you're doing. You need your own website. If you actually think that being on Instagram and Facebook and all that shit is good enough, it's not. And here's why. They are using you as the product. Okay, that's why these things are free. You don't own the data. You don't own none of that shit. They're using you to gather data. So, doesn't mean get off social media, is what I'm saying, though, is get your own fucking website. Get everything and all your traffic going back to your own website so you can start tracking that data and empower yourself, okay? First place you're going to start, go to wehost.wernerelements.com and use promo code SINGER so you can get, for under $100, you can get domain registration. That's the name of your website. You get unlimited emails, unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage, and a carbon-free footprint for your website. The reason this matters, you guys, is because this is the only thing that's going to make you seem actually professional versus every other asshole who has just everything on social media. Okay, if you guys want, you can even go check out my motherfucking website. We're almost done with it. It should have been done a while ago, but we had some shit pop up, some logistical things. Kind of a nightmare, to be honest, but luckily the team over at Werner Elements, they've got my back. We're getting it figured out. You can go to jaredsinger.com if you guys want to check this shit out. You can also go to jaredsingerlive.com. There's like a bunch of dumbass websites you can go to, and they all go to my website. Soon we're going to have merch up there. We're going to have all kinds of dope shit. But yeah, whatever. You guys know what the fuck's going on here. We've done these promos enough. It's not a secret. Also, just let me throw this out there. If you guys haven't already, slap that thumbs up slap the thumbs up, smack the subscribe button, and punch that notification bell like it owes you money. That way you know when we post new content. This really does help the channel a ton, I promise you guys. And if you're listening on just the audio side on any of the streaming platforms, please hit follow or subscribe as well, and leave a 5-star review on iTunes. It really does help the podcast grow. Now, if you're feeling extra juicy, oh, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. You guys can also join the Patreon by going to patreon.com/JaredSingerLive and joining for as low as $3 a month. The reason I mentioned this, a lot of you guys don't know. Okay, hitting subscribe, it's the best way to support the podcast. Okay, it's the easiest way to support the podcast. Sorry. But if you guys want to really help support the podcast, go to patreon.com/JaredSingerLive and join the Patreon. There is extra content in there, but the main reason you're doing this is to help us maintain this bad boy. Okay, we got bills to pay, we got electric, we got fucking gear to maintain. In fact, I've been saying this for a while, so when gear breaks down, we want to be able to replace it. Well, I got 2 lights that just went out on my side of the studio, 2 of my RGB LED lights. So we're gonna have to get those replaced pretty soon here. All that shit is done because you guys are joining the Patreon. The reason you guys, I don't know if you've noticed this, but we've gotten some mic upgrades. The podcast sounds a lot better. That's because of the Patreon subscribers. We've gotten some camera upgrades since we started a while back. That's because of the Patreon subscribers. So make sure you go over there if you guys really want to show some love and help us keep doing this thing, help us keep the lights on, so on and so forth. This is what I do now. Okay, you guys, I'm a podcaster and I'm a musician. This is my deal. So I don't make any money unless y'all decide this is something worth subscribing to on the Patreon side of things. So with no further ado, we're not talking about late as fuck anymore. We're not talking about that anymore. We're not talking about this anymore. There we go. All right. My guest for today is, hold on. Sorry. I dropped something on the ground here. Clay Deters is my guest for today from The Issue. He is back, motherfucker. Last time, I think one of the guys came on. It was Kyle, the bass player. We were going to try to get the drummer on tonight as well, Colin, but things didn't work out. I think he's doing some recording or some shit. But I'm very excited to sit down with my boy Clay. Looks like he's actually calling me right now, so I think he's here. Let's wrap this up. Please welcome to the podcast, my boy, Clay Deters. Mr. Deters.
What's good?
Show me them tags, babe. Show me your tags,
I was
babe.
dying. Show me your tags, babe. That shit's hilarious.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing excellent, man.
I appreciate you coming down, man.
All good in the neighborhood. How about
appreciate
yourself?
You coming down. I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to have you here. Been almost 40 episodes since you've been on.
Shit, yeah, it has. And I've gotten a little more sophisticated since.
So have I. So have I.
Or at least it looks like it.
No, I quit smoking and immediately picked back up cigars.
Nice.
Some people are making fun of me for it right now. They're like, what an idiot. You quit smoking cigarettes and then picked up something way more harsh.
That's so less healthy.
Yeah, here's the thing. Whether it's actually healthy or not is literally irrelevant because I'm not inhaling them and they're cheaper. So in every possible way, this is better for me. So if you guys give a shit about me, you'll support me in my new cigar hobby.
That's actually a pretty tasty cigar, too.
That's why I said, as far as like the budget-friendly ones go, that is hands down my favorite one. And the crazy thing is that's only $2 or $3 cheaper than this one.
Nice.
Like this is only $6 or $7 cigar, depending on where you get it. It could be $8-9, but around here it's $6-7.
Yep.
That fucker is like literally $3 or $4, depending on where you get it. So it's not that big of a difference.
No, not at all. That one's pretty smooth though. I dig that. I'm not like a cigar fanatic by any means, but I like smoking a stogie every once in a while.
They're nice, dude. It's not like cigarettes at all.
No, it's not.
It's a completely different experience.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Especially if you get a decent cigar, because as you smoke it, it's a whole different experience. Like, you break it down into thirds. It tastes one way here, it tastes another way here, and it tastes another way at the end.
Yep.
I like it a lot, man.
Yeah, a little bit of a head rush, too, just to make sure you're on point.
That's you getting high from the nicotine, bro. Literally.
Oh, that's what that is?
Yeah.
First time. I have no idea.
First timer here.
Yeah, that's my first nicotine buzz ever.
I need a bigger ashtray. There we go. That's an ashtray fit for a cigar right there.
There you go.
I'll set this down right here so we don't fucking... You can take that ashtray, dude. Well, thank you for being here, my dude. Cheers.
Let's do it.
We don't cheers cigars, but there should be some sort of like salute.
Some sort of knock.
Like, or just like a phrase, you know, like you say cheers. You don't even always have to actually cheers. You can just say, hey, cheers.
I think it's more of a head nod. You know, it's just like a, you know.
You hold it up, give a nod. I like that. It's very manly. Kind of like hugging.
You know, when you're cruising down the road and you don't really feel like waving at somebody, so you just give them the... Or at least that's what we do in them smaller farming communities.
So what do? You drive tractor, right?
Yeah, so my dad, well, I mean, this farm's been in my family for 5 generations now. Or it will be, let's see, my nephews would be 5th generation Deters farmers. So my dad's grandpa, if I'm getting this right, started the farm in the late 1800s, where we're at now. And yeah, they've been rolling ever since.
Why is it doing that? Why is it not going to your
It wants
camera?
to see your pretty face.
That's dumb. Now it switched.
You have a pretty mouth.
I wonder if I have this like backwards or something. Yeah, because when I'm talking, it keeps jumping to you. Hold on, I can fix this real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's literally just backwards for some reason. I don't know what's going on. When you talk, it switches to me, and when I talk, it switches to you. That's silly. Guys, it's super silly.
That's silly.
Hold on, I'll just switch it right here. Switch that one to host.
That'll buff. We'll buffer out.
That'll buff out.
It'll buff out.
Fuck yeah, bud. All right, go ahead, talk now. I don't know why
What's
I'm
good?
dark either.
What's good? What's good? There it is. Hey, what do you know? We got her figured out. Quick buffage. That's one of my all-time favorite
I think
words.
I know what it is. Buff?
Yeah, my buddies give me shit all the time for saying that'll buff. But that's kind of my life motto when it comes to anything. I roll into any potential adversity. My mind frame is always...
buff out.
It'll buff out. It always does, one way or another.
Ugh. So, you have something to announce. I assume that's why you asked to come back on. It's because you wanted to promote a little something.
We got a fucking new tune out. Little single action. We've been riding that single train for a few months now, and yeah, we put out a new single. Fallen is the name of the track.
And where can people check this out?
You can check it out on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, all that freaking shit.
You know what we got to do?
And
we got to
YouTube.
get you guys to promote your website directly.
Yeah,
Just
that's
go
true.
to the issuemn.com.
Yep.
And on our main landing, from that main landing page, just have redirecting links wherever you want to go.
Well, and you can even stream it on our website too. So that's pretty neat. You can just go to our website and you can hit play on our new track while you go over to our merch page and buy some new merch. You can listen to the new song.
There you go.
And a little 2-for-1 action. I'm all about a
Little
2-for-1.
Little 2-for-1.
Big 2-for-1 guy.
I think I'm also a big fan of the 2-fers. The 2-for-1.
Oh yeah.
It's
Go to the
funny.
bar for 2-for-1s and end up in a freaking world of hurt the next day, but you know, it'll buff.
It'll buff out.
But yeah, so I had to take a freaking break from the tractor to come down to the Jared Singer live, or the Jared Singer Extravaganza.
Don't bullshit
podcast.
the people. You don't farm at night.
Oh,
Don't
there's lights on that fucking horse and plow.
Yeah,
Trust me.
There is.
Yeah, we farm all hours of the day nowadays.
Do you really?
Oh yeah.
No, seriously. Like, do you actually do shit like that at night?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you got big LEDs on the tractor. You can light the fucking field up like it's afternoon, man. And we're dealing with GPS in the tractors too, so you're not even driving the fucking thing. You're letting it drive itself down the field.
Really?
Yeah.
It just stays on that line. My buddy has a buddy, a friend of a friend. He's from Iowa though, and he's got a couple buddies that are serious farmers down
Definitely,
there.
if
And
you're
that's
in
what they
Iowa.
said. They said I don't even touch the steering wheel.
No.
I literally just sit there.
You got to turn at the end of the field, otherwise you'll fucking just keep going.
Right.
But like, yeah, there's a screen in the tractor. You lock into the GPS, set the coordinates that you're traveling. So if you're going, east, west, and north, south, you set your coordinates and click that thing in. And when you get to it like tracks the distance you're traveling before you turn around, remembers how far that is. So then, once you make a few passes, once you get to the end of the field, it'll beep at you and say, hey, it's time to turn around,
No shit.
Yeah. Because people will fall asleep, when you're working in the middle of the night and you got GPS running. It's pretty easy to doze off, and next thing you know, you get a beep from the GPS saying, hey, you might want to check your steering.
I was watching this documentary, and they were talking about how Morocco secretly controls the world. And this sounds insane.
Morocco?
Yes.
Like the country?
Yes. And this sounds insane, but it comes down to farming.
Yep.
And it comes down to there's 3 ingredients you need in order to make fertilizer. What we use as modern day fertilizer, right? You need potassium in its raw form is potash or potash, however you want to pronounce it.
Potash, yep.
Or potash, depends on where you're from, I guess. Tomato, whatever.
Right.
Nitrogen and
phosphorus?
Yes, and phosphorus.
Yep.
And basically Morocco has all the phosphorus.
Sure.
And you need all 3 in order to blah, 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 right? So it's just like this crazy thing. But basically, we're running out of all of these chemicals in order to even make modern day fertilizer.
Yep, modern day fertilizer.
So we went from basically having regular food shortages and starvation in hundreds and hundreds of countries across the globe. And it was just like something you dealt with.
Yep.
And it was the number one problem a lot of nations were always trying to solve. It was hunger. Well, we went from having a regular reoccurring shortage, even though it wasn't a heavy shortage, it was enough to where it was a thing.
Yep.
We went from that to like a huge surplus. And
that's right.
Now we're headed towards a complete reversal.
Basically. I mean, kind of.
We're not talking in a decade or anything. I'm not trying to scare the shit out of people, but we are talking like somewhere between 100 and 300 years.
Right.
And that's at 8 billion people. If we get 10, 12, 15 billion people, those resources are going to get consumed a lot faster.
Assuming that there's not some sort of other scientific alternative that kicks into play sometime in the near future.
Like
which
maybe we figure
is.
out, maybe we figure out how to pull fucking phosphorus out of the ocean or something.
Yeah, just shit like that, and like
weird rocks under volcanoes or some shit.
And at our farm, we use a lot of natural fertilizer, meaning cow shit, to fertilize the fields. Because what better way to be, because it's like, okay, well, in a year like this year, everything's more inflated, so fertilizer expenses are that much higher. And we have plenty of cow shit to use because we have cows and they shit. So we use the shit for fertilizer.
So how do you just let them shit where they are and then you go scoop it up, put it in a truck? Or do you sell it off and get it processed? Like, how does that work? Because I know in the same documentary, they used to collect bat guano because apparently guano, bat shit, is the best fertilizer on the planet.
It's very potent.
And apparently it's not even close. It's like fucking guano, and then it's like a mile before you get to number 2.
Yeah, and like turkey and chicken shit. It seems like birds in general are very good fertilizer. Yeah, I mean, not to go like too in depth in a whole like agricultural expedition here, but we have dairy cattle, so 2 times a day. You know, you go through.
That's right, because it's Deters Dairy.
Yep, Deters Dairy LLC.
Yeah.
Yep.
I follow you on Facebook, bitch.
Shit,
I meant Instagram.
Man.
I meant Instagram. Shit.
I was trying to do a good job of throwing up some posts of like everyday activities at the farm, because you know, not very many people nowadays know what goes on at a farm. You know,
100%.
you're very excluded from your food source. You go to the grocery store and you come home with your, you know, hamburger and fucking potato chips, and that's what you have. You don't know where either of those things came from and the process that it went through in order to get to your fucking grocery store. So, you know, it's like, I was like, well, it'd be kind of cool to just make some posts, you know, everyday activities at the farm, you know, drive a tractor, you see the cows, you see the field work out in the field, planting corn, this, that, and the other thing, harvest and whatnot. So that's kind of what I was trying to do for a bit there, but
I thought they were cool.
You know,
I enjoyed them. Like, dude, I would, just for people that don't follow you on social, because I do follow you on the socials, and for people that don't, to kind of explain this in context, like, I liked seeing them because it'd be a video of you fucking around, just sitting in the combine as the combine's driving while you're fucking tilling a field or whatever you
Harvest,
whatever you set that combine up for at that time. Because I watched you all summer, and you'd have AC/DC or something else going on in the background. And here's the irony, bro.
Yeah,
like, I'm a pretty fucking busy guy. I'm a pretty motivated motherfucker, and apparently, compared to most people my age and younger, I'm extremely disciplined and I work really fucking hard.
Sure.
I don't agree with these statements if we measure myself against the older generation. Okay? So like our parents, compared to them, I'm a pussy and I don't fucking work at all. Right?
For sure.
But I still thought it was cool because I'd be sitting there doing something, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden I'd get like this vision, or this like image would be a better word. This image of you driving your combine, listening to tunes, and I'm like, dude, I bet you, because I remember having a job where I could do that, like that.
Yep.
And I would just listen to music all day. This is before podcasts were a thing. So it was either sports talk radio or music. Those were the two things you could listen to if you had an FM thing on your whatever,
for sure.
Whether it was a Walkman or a disc, whatever, right? Dude, I used to get so inspired and jacked up to be a musician. Like, by the time I would leave work, I couldn't wait to get to rehearsal, because I've been listening to music all day. Fucking, oh, that's a cool idea. I wonder if that crazy old riff from this Jimi Hendrix song, I wonder if we could do something like that in this brutal heavy metal song we're working on, or whatever the case is.
Right. You know, and what I like about it, you know, a lot of people that
that boss was super. What I like about
it being farming, you know, because it's kind of funny, because you know, a lot of people that I've met down in the Twin Cities area through music have no idea that, you know, I came from a farm, or not that they don't know that I came from a farm, but they don't know that I even still do that outside of playing music,
or they don't give a shit.
A lot
of self-centered people out there. Not selfish, just self-centered.
For me, it's a nice change in pace from the hustle and bustle of the music industry, because
it's great. Right?
Farming is a lot of work, and you know, there's very small profit margins that you have to work within. You have to be very efficient.
Well, especially when you're competing against corporate farms,
right?
That, you know, are using GMO crops that are, I mean, it's just crazy.
You're dealing with corporations versus a small town business, or a small, you know, personal owned business, which is basically, you know, the analogy you could use.
Yeah, and just so people understand why we're even bringing this up or talking about this, because there's thin margins to begin with, right? And if you are running your own farm, you deserve to get paid fairly well by yourself, right? Like, you're going to pay yourself fairly well. The reason it's hard to compete with a corporation is because they'll hire illegal migrant workers, put them in row homes, which are like subpar living conditions. And this happens right here in Minnesota. Like, I've been there. I've literally been to these farming communities in Minnesota where it's all fucking Mexicans, barely speaking English, living on subpar fucking row home settlements, basically, for subpar fucking wages.
Yep.
And when the costs are so low for these big corporations, it's just so much easier for them. Plus, like I said, they're using GMO crops, which are more resistant to pests, which are more resistant to drought and things like that, right?
Yeah, that's what they're engineered for.
And then you can't go grab those GMO crops. In fact, I've read stories and articles about lawsuits happening because a corporate farm will be across the street. Their shit will literally just blow into yours. Then they do an investigation, find out you have some of their seed growing in your field, and they sue you and take your farm. Because the air blew it over there.
Right.
And they're accusing you of using their proprietary copyrighted wheat or corn or whatever. It's a fucking one of the nastiest, darkest fuck. You know what it reminds me of?
Yeah.
It reminds me of medieval times when the lords owned everything and the peasants worked the fields.
Yep.
That's what it reminds me of now, is corporations own everything. And I mean, I personally know people who work for a corporation tilling their own land.
Right. Well, you know, it's I mean,
suck on that one.
There's a lot of there's a lot of variables involved when it comes to the agricultural industry as a whole. And, you know, I'm no expert. I just, you know, I've worked, you know, at Deters Dairy doing my thing basically my whole life, as well as, you know, being a musician as of the past 6 years of my life or whatever. So I mean, as far as a lot of that like corporate shit and you know, certain stuff, I think I listened to that Joe Rogan podcast. I think some of the stuff you're talking about there was referenced in that podcast, and
I don't know which one you're talking about, but I would not be surprised because I mean, I'm getting this information from living in Minnesota over 20 years.
Right. You know,
it's got to be happening in every state from here to Texas.
Right. Like every corporation, there's shady shit from the past that was done in the fucking 50s and 60s before people knew what the fuck was going on. And they took advantage of people and resources and did what they did. It's not so much as, you know, it's not as bad as what people think it is nowadays in modern times, simply because you just can't get away with doing certain things. And
like
there's just so many restrictions involved in
what do you mean?
The agricultural business, as far as like, you know, when it comes to pesticides and herbicides and spraying your fields and distances from waterways and making sure that your soil is, you know, at certain, you know, points, and that your water tables are, you know, not contaminated. And in our instance, you know, being dairy farmers, your milk, you know, they can't show any signs of any sort of like, you know, if you gave a cow a shot, you know, for like milk fever, for example, just the first thing that came to my head, you know, before that cow can milk again, it has to be completely clean. That milk cannot go to the bulk tank and go to the creamery. And because it's tested before it leaves our farm, and it's tested once it gets to the creamery. Because if it is contaminated, you know, we're all drinking that shit, so we don't want that going into our system. So that's why it's highly regulated. So that stuff doesn't make it into the creamery. Like, we've had it before where the sick pen of cows gets milked last, because you have to milk a cow, otherwise they'll get very sick. They get milk fever and stuff like that, because
so if you don't milk a cow, it will get sick.
Yeah, so when a cow calves like a human, it starts producing milk. And
for people that don't understand what you just said, you're talking about when a cow gives birth to a calf.
Correct.
It's just like a human. It starts to lactate.
It starts lactating, and it has to do something with that. And if it doesn't,
does it get toxic?
It gets very toxic. You know, they'll get a fever, and a lot of times it'll kill them if it's not treated.
So people...
We're going down a fucking ag rabbit hole right off the bat.
I love this though, because I even recently just seen something where they were talking on TikTok, and it was like they put the names of all their cows on the carton of milk, and it was like, so you know where your milk came from.
Yep.
Right. And somebody commented, and they're like, "Do you notice how they're all predominantly female-driven names? Like, just listen how just look at, you can see how the power structure and blah 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 blah." And it was so fucking retarded because is what they don't understand is all milk comes from only female cows.
Yeah.
Now that seems like common sense to anybody with an IQ above 80. But what I don't think people realize is it's not a matter of ethics. Because that cow has to get rid of that milk.
It does.
Or it can actually create. So it's a symbiotic relationship we have. This is what I'm hearing from you is it's a symbiotic relationship we have with these cows. It's not like we've enslaved a race of cows and we're abusing them by rubbing their nipples, which isn't how you milk a cow, but you get my point.
I mean, you can go and say there's all kinds of this, that, and the other thing in the agricultural world, but we've been farming for however many hundreds of thousands of years, and we've been doing it this way and that way, and like everything else, it's became scientifically advanced.
Drinking milk from a male cow from a bull.
Well, yeah, good luck with that.
I think it tastes a little bitter.
That salty. I don't think you're going to enjoy that as much. It's not the flavor you're going to be looking for. Your ice cream's going to be a little bit freaking salty, I have a feeling.
So when you guys do this, when you send your shit to the creamery,
my point being though is like that there's that sick pen of cows or whatever that got, whatever happened, they got sick. You still have to milk those cows because they'll just get more sick if they don't get rid of that milk. So what happens is,
once it was clear, you could go back to selling that milk again. Back in the day. And you can't do that now?
You can. So you just have to wait till anything that like if you treat them with any sort of shot of any sort, to
like an antibiotic.
Yeah, an antibiotic. You have to make sure that antibiotic has gone completely through their system before their milk goes into the bulk tank that's getting sent to the creamery. So that pen gets, in our setup that we run, that pen gets milked to last. So what you have to do is you have to switch, basically flip a couple levers and reroute the milk so it goes to what we call a pasteurizer, and it doesn't go to the bulk tank, which is basically this just big tank that stores and cools the milk, keeps it at a cool temperature so it doesn't spoil. That's where all the cow's milk goes. So basically what I'm saying is once that sick pen comes along, you have to milk them. You have to reroute where their milk goes so it doesn't end up in the same tank as the rest of the cows that got milked. Otherwise, if you forget to do that, which has happened at our farm in the past, and you get that
Don't say it like that. Don't say it like that. Rephrase that. Which has happened at every farm in the past.
Yes. And it's a bad day because you go and test that milk and you got a full bulk tank and something shows up in there, they can't take that milk. Where does it go? Down the fucking drain. And that's 2 days, a day's worth of work, labor,
how much money
all
is that
down the drain.
Like on a sales, not profit. Let's not talk about profit, just straight up sales. What does one whole tank of milk sell for? I mean, I know it's a commodity, so it goes up and down like orange juice, but
I honestly, are
we talking $1,000? Are we talking 10 grand, 100 grand? Like how much milk are we talking about?
We're talking thousands. I couldn't give you a number. I'm not very in tune with the dairy side of things. I work more on the field work, the feed crop side of,
and that's to feed the cows, right?
Yeah, that's to feed the cows.
So when you do all this, when you send it to the creamery and everything, is it making it to a Land O'Lakes jug? Is it making it to one of these companies that we drink every day here in Minnesota?
Yep. Land O'Lakes, AMPI. I think we're contracted with AMPI. That's just another version like Land O'Lakes. They're a creamery. A lot of our milk goes into butter and ice cream and stuff like that. That's kind of like where our factory creamery that our milk goes to, that's kind of more their specialty. Cheese, stuff like that. That's where most of our milk goes to. But you think about all these things, milk is in a lot of products and a lot of different things, not just your jug of milk, your cheese, your butters, your fats, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's everything. It's cottage cheese. It's yogurts.
Right.
It's
Yogurts, all that kind of stuff. Sour cream, so many
top
different
the tater.
things. Yeah, top the tater.
Top the fucking tater,
which is probably one of the greatest inventions known
Did
to
you
man.
know that is a Minnesota thing, or at least a
Top the tater
very
is?
upper Midwest thing? Yeah, my buddy Dalton, who came back from the Navy a while back, we were just dicking around at. I think we went and bought some munchies for something. I don't remember what we were doing, but he was explaining to me all the amazing things that exist pretty much only in Minnesota. Maybe you'll get them in Wisconsin or Iowa, like in the surrounding areas, but like that was one of them. Top the tater. Salted nut rolls is one of them. There's just a bunch of weird shit that just only exists here for us. It's right. I don't understand it, but it fucking. I think it's cool. I don't know. I'm a weird fucking dude like this.
I mean, it's cool knowing, you always have pride and shit that comes from your area for whatever reason.
Let me ask you this. So like with different cows, right?
Yep.
So depending on the age of the cow, so veal, right?
Yep.
Black Angus, right? Which is it true that's just the color of the udders are black?
Black Angus is actually a beef cow. So they don't produce milk like your standard like Jersey is more of a dairy cow.
Because I don't think a lot of people understand this. Like, I know most people don't understand these terms properly. Yep. Like, cows are females.
Cows are
Steers are male cows, but only for breeding. Correct.
Correct.
Or no, that's meat. That's for meat.
Steer is a Black Angus, which is technically they produce
because
milk,
a bull
but they
has
don't
its balls.
Produce.
That's what
a
it is.
A bull
right?
is a male,
and it's for breeding.
Yeah,
like you're never going to eat a bull until it's way too old to breed anymore, and then you'll kill it and use it for meat.
Or if you have issues with it, because bulls are mean.
Yeah, they can be over aggressive.
We've
and
had
I only know
this
this because my grandfather had cows. So and a bull. So they used to he used to explain this to me. So a bull is for breeding. A steer is a male deer that's been castrated and eventually will be butchered for meat, correct?
Steer is for meat, yep.
But is what you're telling me is a Black Angus is still a cow, which is a female.
It's technically a cow,
but it's not a milking cow.
Correct.
Wow. Okay. Is there anything like this when it comes to milk cows? Like is there different types of cows that make better dairy for specific things? Like these cows are best for making cheese and yogurt. These are great for milk. These are blah, blah, blah.
It doesn't necessarily come down to what's, best for certain products. It really just comes down to, their production, what a cow produces. Basically, certain cows produce more, certain cows produce less. Breeds, certain breeds can only produce X amount of pounds of milk. That's just all they can put out. And like an Angus,
does it matter?
An
like
Angus
the age
is raised.
Of
yes,
a cow?
It does. It matters age and lactations. So lactations meaning how many times it's calved. So a first
how
lactation.
many times it's given birth?
Yes. How many times? My bad.
You're fine. You're fine.
Egg terms.
I'm just, and that's
how many
and
times
that's,
it's given
that's
birth.
what you should be doing. I'm just dumbing it down for anybody
for sure.
That's
so
confused.
as we said before, every time a cow gives birth,
calves.
Calves.
You say the
lactates.
right term. I'll do the layman translation.
That's we call that a lactation. So a lactation is the
it's
time.
A cycle.
Yep, that it calves till there's a X amount of time where it basically produces milk before it dries up, and doesn't produce that volume of milk anymore, and then it basically goes into a stage where another breeding stage, where it's more fertile and ready to breed again.
Fertile, not fertile.
One could say
it's not fertile. It's fertile.
Fertile. So yeah, that's kind of that's just kind of that's how that works. So a first lactation cow produces less than say a third or fourth lactation cow.
So it's like it peaks and then does it go back down?
And then it plateaus. So usually third or fourth lactation is kind of where they plateau, and then they go down from there.
And then what do you do once a cow's so old it's not lactating properly anymore? Do you butcher it for meat?
Yep. it goes into meat.
And what kind of meat is that type of?
Generally hamburger.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's your ground beef.
Dairy cows are, they do, I mean, they'll make good steaks and, T-bones, stuff like that.
Because
they get used mostly for hamburger.
Because the cut of the meat, and most people do know this, but in case anybody doesn't, the cut of the meat and the quality of the meat mostly is where on the cow it was taken from.
Right.
But I assume that there's a reason steers are bred specifically for meat versus other things.
Yeah, that's
That
what
makes
they're.
sense.
That's what steers are raised to produce is meat.
And then, like
And
I said,
where
veal
dairy
is like a
cows are
baby
raised to
calf,
produce
right?
milk,
Or
right?
A steer, veal is a calf. Is it always going to be a male?
A veal.
Veal meat, is it always male, or does it not matter because
I'm
it's
not sure.
just age based?
That I'm not sure. That's a good
Finally
question.
got him on one.
Veal. Yeah, I honestly don't know. And we don't raise bull calves. We
the
don't
meat
raise
that daddy likes.
the meat that daddy likes. The prime cut.
Oh,
that's funny. Yeah.
The prime cut.
Big farm guys here at the Jared Singer Extravaganza.
Hey man, here's the deal. It sounds funny. It sounds dumb. It sounds boring to certain people. It's hilarious because I've been watching the tally here, and people we got a decent amount of people watching. It's gone up and down as we've been talking about this. You'd be surprised, man, how many people are interested in this shit. And we got a listener base all the way across the globe,
Sure.
all over this country. And yeah, man, I hate to break it to everybody, but I don't just want to talk to people about music. There are certain things outside of music that fascinate me, and it's things like this. It's like everybody. Einstein had this theory, and I also agree with this. Everybody is a genius at least one thing. So fuck your IQ. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the level of expertise that a genius possesses at one thing. The trick is finding that one thing. And I think a lot of people haven't. But I love finding out what somebody is an expert at and then having them explain to me whatever it is they're an expert at. I think it's really cool. I got into cars, working on cars, not like sports cars and driving and spending money on crazy shit.
But the mechanics of cars. And
by listening
what goes
to
on.
expert mechanics talk about how engines actually work.
Right.
And it just got me into it. Same thing. You listen to a guy who really understands cigars. Sure. Cigars become way more appealing and interesting than listening to me rant about it.
Right. Well, and I'm no expert when it comes to farming either. I mean, I grew up on a farm. I know a lot about farming, but when it comes down to the real fine details about why certain things are a certain way and why certain things are done a certain way, my two older brothers that are basically one CEO, one CEO manager thing.
Brad, I love Brad. Brad's one of my favorite viewers / fans / friends. He says, "Now let's talk about the hides."
Leather
what
jackets.
Kind of cows are we getting our leather jackets from?
Where are metal guys getting our leather jackets from? That's from
those are
cow.
also steers, typically, aren't they?
Yeah,
because steers typically don't have coloring. Multicoloring. Am I correct on this? Like what we think of a dairy cow, like a female dairy cow, they're black and white.
Yep.
Whereas steers and bulls are typically all black or all brown. Correct.
Yep. Correct. Yep.
That's cool.
That's correct. And what's interesting about cows is how efficient of an animal they are. Meaning that they're. This might sound gruesome and, I don't like talking about this when it comes to animals. But the fact of the matter is that humans have been using these animals as a very efficient resource for a good majority of the human population. When you go back to ancient Egyptian times, they have cows. They milk cows. They
didn't look like our cows, but they were still cows.
But they were still cows, and they used them for meat, and they used them for clothes, and they used them for all that stuff.
They're technically bovine, right? Because the cows are the females.
Correct.
So what we're talking about are
bovine.
They had bovines,
yeah,
and they didn't look like ours,
right?
But they're still in that same thing.
Right.
Why do American cows look the way they do, the black and the white? Was that something we bred because we like the look of it, or was that because it was easy to distinguish them in a large group?
I wouldn't even necessarily consider them American cows. It's just been breeding techniques that have been used over hundreds and hundreds of years. You know, I don't know.
Let me rephrase this. For example, American chickens.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I see what you're saying now. There's no real thing such as an American chicken versus European chicken. However, the eggs look dramatically different. If you go to an American grocery store, they're all pure white.
Correct.
And has nothing to do with the actual chickens. It has to do with how we process the eggs.
Correct.
And where we put the responsibility of getting rid of potential salmonella.
Correct.
What I found out is the egg color is based on the color of the chicken.
Yes.
So like if you're getting a brown egg, that's from a chicken that lays brown eggs.
Yep.
And chickens will naturally have not literally red, but like an orangish, rusty red, and then they'll
generally
do white ones, and shades in between. But that's when you have multicolored eggs, that's because there's multiple chickens. And a chicken has one color egg. The difference is in Europe, they just kind of let them do their thing, and it's up to you when you buy the egg to wash it off and get rid of the salmonella, whereas our American FDA makes them bleach them and go through all these crazy things, and that strips off that layer of coloring.
Yeah, a lot of that, you know.
That's why if you want those brown eggs, you got to go to like fancy grocery store or a farmer's market.
Yeah, more of a farmer's market type.
But it does affect the color, or I'm sorry, it does affect the taste.
It does a little bit.
Anybody I know who's been to Europe says their eggs, the yolks are dark orange, not yellow like ours. They're thicker. They taste richer. Like they cook different too. You got to be careful how you cook them.
I mean, and part of that's how they're raised, what, sort of feed they're being fed. We get, or I shouldn't say my parents get eggs from a neighbor. Another thing I love about the farm is there's still some sort of, there's trading going on. It's like, here's some hamburger, we'll take some eggs type thing. And, those eggs are, they're about as fresh as they get. They pick out, and my mom goes over there and gives them, $1 for a carton of eggs or whatever the hell they charge.
Yeah, because doesn't a chicken, when it's like in its prime, doesn't a chicken lay like an egg a day? Yeah,
they're constantly producing.
Extremely efficient. Like
yeah, they're very efficient. Yeah.
So what is it? Because I heard as far as like pound for pound, because I've heard all of these same things, and I actually think all of this is extremely interesting, especially as we get older, we become adults, like real adults, not young adults. Not when you're between 21 and 30 and you're partying in Minneapolis, fucking having a gay old time. That's not what I'm talking about. So what I'm talking about is when you become a real adult and you either like buy a home, or you like buy land, or you want to get off the grid, or suddenly you realize the government takes a little bit too much out of your paycheck. Or did I say if you have kids, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a million reasons we all grow up and become real adults. And most of us nowadays, it doesn't happen until we're somewhere between 30 and 35. Doesn't matter. That's just my opinion of the majority of people.
I'll agree with you 100%.
But I've heard pound for pound, the only animal that is more efficient at this thing that we're talking about. And I want you to explain why cows are so efficient, but I heard it's a goat.
Goats are very efficient.
I heard they're the only animal that we get cheese and meat from.
For similar reasons as cows.
So what is it that makes cows or goats, in that matter, then so efficient?
Their ability to turn a food source into multiple products that we can consume. So like corn, hay, grass, whatever, a cow. If you think about a cow is eating grass or eating its corn or eating, whatever feed it's given, or a goat. It takes that in, and what does that do? It turns it into milk, which is used for how many different products? It turns it into meat, which is used for how many different products? It turns it into shit, which we use to fertilize, which is used to fertilize to feed the cows. See where the cycle is, and it turns it into shit, which then produces psilocybin mushrooms, which could save the world if everyone would just. Dude, I've never which comes from cow shit. By the way.
I've never
cow pies.
That's what I was saying. Right? Dude, I've never heard Rogan say this before until recently. I've been saying this for years. Me and Kevin, a while back, came to the conclusion if everyone on the planet was forced to do a decent amount of mushrooms once a year, we could solve every problem, right? You could have some asshole sitting in Cleveland, Ohio, who's a computer programmer, but he has some like weird, kind of like us, right? We have these weird like farming backgrounds, even though we're musicians. So it'd be more accurate to use you and I. Like, you have a farming background. I kind of know a little bit about farming, right? We're actually musicians, and we're just chilling in Minneapolis, right?
Yep.
We do enough mushrooms. Who knows, dude? One of us might come up with an actual world-changing, crazy idea for an invention or a new technique of doing something. And maybe it doesn't have anything to do with farming or music, but for some reason, those two knowledge bases like build a bridge to so being a musician plus being a farmer plus mushrooms builds a bridge to where you come to some crazy shit, and maybe you figure out a more efficient way of making fucking fuel. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't. It's just a random.
It allows your brain to explore opportunities other than what's right in front of you.
And if we made every person on Earth do mushrooms once a year,
that would be interesting.
I'm convinced we would solve all the problems. The catch is you can't let everyone do them at the same time. So we came up. It's simple math. 365 days in a year. If, you take 8 billion divided by 365.
Yep.
That's how many people per day are doing mushrooms, and then you just lottery spread that per capita across the globe. Right?
You'd have a lot of happy
Otherwise,
people.
you'd have a lot of orgies.
You'd have a lot of happy people every day, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Presumably.
And you'd have every single person expanding their consciousness in some way, shape, or form. I'm convinced we would solve world hunger. We would stop genocidal wars. We'd probably legitimately end racism, like actually end it, because I don't think we're ever fixing any of these problems until we can like get to some other conscious level. I don't think the normal human that we are today is solving anything.
Until people are able to like fully remove themselves from their ego, a lot of the shit that we're dealing with is just not going to go away, because that's what it really all comes down to, is whether even if you're not a quote unquote egotistical human being, a lot of things that you do and say and believe are down to your experience and your ego, and your perception of yourself and how you let others perceive you, and that's shit I battle with all the time, because I am somewhat of an egotistical person too, so I gotta have these conversations with myself.
Let me ask you a question though. What does that mean?
What do you mean?
To you? Let's try to figure like the idea of being egotistical, right? Like, I hear this being thrown around. I got a lot of friends who are kind of like, again, growing up, right? They're exploring their own ego, right? And if you look up ego, it simply means sense of self. So I've always held this theory, like, if you have an ego that's too big of a sense of self, it's obviously unhealthy. However, I think there's a sneaky thing going on that most people aren't willing to acknowledge, which is if you have too small of an ego, if you have too small of a sense of self, that's actually as dangerous, if not more dangerous, to your own health than having too big of an ego.
Well, I'll agree with that 100%.
So what does it even mean to be egotistical then? Like, when we say that, it sounds negative, but is it even a negative thing to be egotistical?
I don't
what does egotistical really mean to you?
Personally, I don't.
The dictionary, like,
right.
How are you using it right now?
I think having a solid foundation and knowing where you land, where your wavelength is at, and how you interact with others, and that plays a big role in where your ego is. I think as far as
say that again.
Like you're. If you're thinking more highly of yourself over other people all the time, or this my shit doesn't stink type of attitude, I think that's where egos get inflated, and it's obviously amplified by social media. And
now that sounds super negative, what you just described off the top, right? I think I'm better than everybody.
Yep.
My shit doesn't blah blah blah, right? Those seem like blatant examples of a negative ego being too big. But
you need
isn't that exactly what Michael Jordan thought? Like when people would be like, oh blah blah, he would think, you're not in my category. Don't fucking compare yourself to me. And the fact that you did that, the fact that you even tried to put us in the same fucking conversation, next time I play you, I'm going to humiliate you and make you want to quit the NBA because we're not that's drive sense though, of too. But it's an egotistical thing, right? It's a sense of self that said, and that in itself is what drove Michael Jordan to be Michael Jordan.
Yep.
I got buddies, and I can't say they're wrong. This is what I'm getting. I can't even argue with them. I can't even tell them that they're wrong. I can come up with possibilities, but they're like, yeah, I'm not sure that's actually a healthy thing. I'm like, yeah, you might be fucking right, bro.
Well, and my whole thing is an ego. If your ego helps drive you and that's a driving factor in making you successful, and you know how to control it, there's nothing wrong with that. I think where your ego becomes negative is when it starts affecting the important people in your life.
Sure.
Your wife, your bandmates, your family, stuff like that. When you're continually putting yourself above those people and not allowing yourself to live on the same playing field that they're on, have these human interactions that are, straightforward, like open-minded. You're not thinking about what your perception is on how they're living their life all the time.
It sounds like what you're talking about is empathy.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like you're talking about.
It really does. And if you can be a person that has a strong ego and is empathetic at the same time, that I think then you've found certain keys to success that might give you really an upper hand on people.
Not only do I agree with you, I think it's super interesting the word you chose to describe that. You said a strong ego. You didn't say big, you didn't say small, you said strong. And that's what I think most of us should be focusing on more, is having a healthy ego, having a healthy sense of yourself. Like, yeah, you might be a bad motherfucker.
Yep.
That doesn't mean admitting that makes you arrogant or having a bad ego or any of that shit. But maybe don't run around yelling that at everybody, because you might turn around and make other people feel like shit. And you might diminish their ego, which is unhealthy for not only them, but for the group as a whole, right? Because you need everybody. Like, think about it like a baseball team, right? Like, if I'm the greatest fucking pitcher in the league, and I'm the ace on this team.
Yep.
And let's say you're the second pitcher on the rotation.
Yep.
Well, I played a lot of sports. And even if I am the best motherfucker in the world, I know you also need to believe you're the baddest motherfucker in the world.
Right.
So if I'm so crazy with me fucking talking my shit about how great I am, that it actually starts to fuck with your psychology and it makes you think of yourself less, that actually hurts the team, because you're not even entering competition on your days where you're the starting pitcher. You're not even starting at a good place. You're doubting yourself, which is not a healthy thing either.
No, that's not a healthy
interesting.
either.
It's an interesting conversation.
It is very interesting. And, I find myself, not to go back into ag, but, I spend most of my time in a tractor by myself, away from people. I have the option of having the radio on, having music playing, having a podcast going, or I have the option of having nothing on and listening just to the hum of the motor.
How often do you do nothing?
I'll find myself, especially when shit's going on, when there's a lot of band stuff happening, the farm's busy, when I'm trying to do a million things at one time, I find most peace when I leave my phone in my pocket. I have the radio off. I don't have my AirPods in, and I'm just rolling. And I'm just letting my mind wander wherever my mind wants to wander. I'll think about myself. I'll think about my music. I'll think about, my wife, my family, what I'm doing with my life personally, what I'm doing, with my bandmates, how are we continually moving forward? it gives me a lot of time to reflect about what I'm trying to do and whether the things that we're doing are beneficial or not, and whether, we're continually growing. And it gives me a lot of time to, it gives me a lot of time to self-reflect, and it's helped me with my songwriting personally, because how often do you get, we'll say, anywhere from 5 to 10 hours where you're just by yourself and you don't have to talk to anybody other than the occasional phone call or text that you have to respond to. How often do you get that amount of time to not have that much interaction where you can just think about shit? It's not very often, especially nowadays.
Yeah, I think it's almost never.
It's
nowadays.
almost never. I
mean, it's weird because I think back in the day we did a lot of that by default, right?
Yep.
Like whether you were going to work or not, you were riding a horse or even driving a car.
Yep.
Right? There just wasn't even radios in them for the longest time. I
Right.
mean, for most of human civilization, we didn't have the ability to even be being distracted was a literal luxury that we had to go out of our way to create. So it was like festivals and, communal things that we would do in order to do that. Whereas now it's almost impossible to get away from those distractions.
Right.
It's hard to just.
It is. It's very hard.
Do.
And I struggle with that myself. I'm addicted to my goddamn cell phone too, just like everybody else. And I find it more so, we just released a new song, so you're dealing with communicating with a lot of people. You're checking certain stats, and you're interacting with
fantasy
people
football has increased my
like
screen time like
it's ridiculous.
1,000%.
It's
just
like
fantasy football, because I can't stop, and then I got to look something up.
And then you got to look it up.
And then I got to watch a YouTube video. Oh, how's Miami's defense do against the run? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, oh my God, dude, it's ridiculous.
The hardest part about that is too, say your fantasy football, when the football season's over, your body and your mind have been so used to just doing this thing that once it's over, it just like, it doesn't know what to do. So it still does it some way, shape, or form. So like, you're still like, you find yourself going to your phone and doing certain things that you wouldn't necessarily need or want to even do anyways. But like, I find myself falling into these obsessive compulsions after, like, say doing a song release where you're constantly like checking your email and talking to people and dealing with social media stuff, where once that ride's over, your body almost just like does it naturally. You're just like, okay, like I got 5 minutes. Stare at my fucking phone. Blah, blah,
it's
blah,
the
blah.
muscle memory shit.
Yeah, it's muscle memory. And
it's
then,
like smoking. It's like when you quit smoking, you have to start addressing all the moments that, and it's so funny because this word trigger now is annoying. We used to use the word trigger when we talked about addiction.
Yep.
Like, these are my triggers. These are the things that make me want to do drugs or smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol. Driving. For me, driving's a common one, right?
Yeah.
Finishing a meal is a common one. For me, it was weird shit like having conversations.
Yep.
Any amount of drinking whatsoever. Playing video games. These are things that set me up for not only smoking, but borderline chain smoking.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
it wasn't just the chemical addiction. It was the habit.
It's the habit
of the muscle memory of, well, here's what I'm doing. Like, dude, when I just tried to cut down on smoking, I'd be sitting here. I'd have a dip in my mouth, chatting with a podcast guest, totally fine on nicotine. And I'd be hanging out, just having a conversation. And all of a sudden, I'd notice myself, like, my arm would reach over to my left. And then I'd start looking, and I'd grab my cigarettes, and I'd literally, like, reach it up.
Subconscious.
And I'd put a cigarette in my mouth, and then all of a sudden realize I have a dip in my mouth. And I'm like, I don't need this cigarette. What am I fucking doing right now?
It just becomes a natural reaction.
I think that's what you're talking about, but with stimulation.
Right.
Specifically,
you get that dopamine
the vehicle
hit.
is the phone.
Yeah.
The phone is nothing more than a vehicle to stimulation.
Yep.
And I think you're right, man. Like, you end fantasy football season and you almost have withdrawals. You have this like literal, you have withdrawals from the dopamine.
Yep.
But then you also have this muscle memory of like, oh, I have 5 minutes. Here's what I do here.
Yeah.
Like,
this is when I check my football stats quick. So now instead you just go to Facebook or Instagram or whatever and you mindlessly scroll for 5 minutes and it did absolutely nothing for you. And you probably don't even remember the shit that you were just looking at when you close it off.
Right.
You know, and 5 minutes went away like that.
Yeah. No, I think you're onto something, man.
You know, and I've been trying to be more conscious of it just because I don't know. I just like, I love my phone because I can do so much. I'm able to do 2 jobs at one time. I can farm and manage a band simultaneously without having either one have a negative effect on the other. That's great. That's powerful. The fact that I can do that is fucking mind-boggling. But at the same time, you fall into these certain tendencies that when the ride's over, you do the same thing and you're like, all right, I got to check my fucking Instagram now. And it's like, no, you don't. Doesn't matter. Nothing's changed. And even if it has, fucking look at it tomorrow or looking at it in 5 hours. It's not important right now.
I agree.
And I struggle with that. I have a really hard time, like, just like, okay, I can do something else, you know, other than look at my fucking phone.
I mean, here's the thing, dude, is you're pretty young, and it seems like you already have a pretty fucking good grasp on it, bro. Like, there's a lot of people my age that haven't even put this much thought into it. I think you're going to be fine. It seems like
I think part of the problem, part of the reason I do is because I have that time by myself where I'm able to digest the situation and really think it out without having that thought process hindered by any outside force. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know, other than the occasional phone call or text and stuff like that.
Which, if you really wanted to, you could even avoid those.
I
could
just
go on airplane
and
mode.
I do. Ask my bandmates, Quay, answer your fucking phone.
Oh, dude, trust me. I know your whole band is terrible at returning any messages. You and Kyle we are really worst.
Bad. Any one of us will send a text out to the group chat, and it'll just be no response.
Dude,
and I'll be like, all right, I'll go fuck myself now.
So I came to one of your shows, and one of your band members, Kyle, your bass player, he hit me up at the show, and he's like, dude, I would love to come on your podcast. I'm like, 100%. We exchanged information. A couple weeks later go by. I'm getting, because I don't book all the time. I do
booking spurts.
I book entire months in like a day or two.
Yep.
Maybe 3.
Makes sense.
And then I just and I'll literally book 2 months at a time. So I book 60 days out, and then I won't even fucking do it again for 30 more days. And then I only have 1 month to book.
Right.
So I hit him up, and it's like 3-4 weeks before I finally hear back from him. And he's like, yeah, the 18th would be great. I was like, bro, I started laughing. I was like, bro, that shit was filled like 45 minutes after I texted you. I offered these.
That sounds like Kyle.
I reach out and I offer like 2 or 3 dates to each person. And it's literally the first person that jumps on one of those dates gets it.
Yeah.
And then if you hit me back and you're like, yeah, 17th, I'm like, sorry, dude. Now I'm down to just the 15th or the 21st or whatever, right?
Yep.
And then you hit me back, okay, cool, the 21st. I'm like, now that one's taken. So now you got the 15th, or we could go next month. Here's 2 more dates.
Right.
And it works that way because everybody eventually gets a date they're looking at.
Yep.
But it was hilarious, dude, because it took so long.
That's funny.
And yeah, he even apologized, like, oh, dude, I'm really bad. I'm like, dude, it's all good. I'm just letting you know.
Kyle's
if you want to come on, you got to be quick.
Dude.
Like, you got to be quick. You got to jump on the dates because I open them up and then they get taken fast. Dude.
Yeah. Kyle's phone gives me fucking anxiety.
Why?
Just because there's so many notifications on it. Like, we're talking like 1,000 emails, and like he'll have like 50 text messages, and I'll be like, I personally, I can't handle having.
You mean like this?
Oh my god, that's
21,000.
That just stresses me out.
I have 21,000 things to get to on my phone. This is not an exaggeration. That equates to 56 emails, 21,795 emails, and 2 Facebook messengers. And that's just in that folder. That's not including this one up here that has 41 This one has 2. This one has another one. Dude, there's 2 up there on reminder. Jesus Christ, dude.
The only notification I have is the fact that I have 19 apps that need to be updated.
There you go. You're doing good, man.
I'm telling you, that's my own obsessive compulsion.
This much thought into any of this is a very healthy thing, dude. You're on the right track.
I think so. I think part of the reason I think about it so much is because I try to do so many things where it's like, okay, I can only designate so much time to shit. And if I'm gonna, do a good job at the farm and make sure I'm not fucking shit up there and make sure that I'm doing a good job at taking care of certain band shit that needs to be done, as well as maintaining a healthy relationship with my wife and my bandmates and my peers around me, the hard drive can only handle so many things.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, so much to the point that one of my mentors, my uncle, his name's Sam. He's actually been on the podcast. He started B96. Do you remember B96 back in the day? The radio station. It's 96.3.
Yeah, okay.
He started that with a group of investors, including Jesse Ventura, or not Jesse Ventura. Sorry, he worked for Jesse Ventura. Prince.
Okay.
And a bunch of people. There was a group of investors that did that. And I think the Polads were involved too. The owners of the Twins. Long story short. He's one of my mentors, been very successful in life, done some amazing things, and he put a number on it. You can have 3 projects on your plate at max at one point in time.
Yep.
And your woman is one of them, dude.
For real.
Your relationship, your wife, your family, whether it doesn't, that's one of the things.
If not the main thing.
No, it is. It is. But then your day job, that's also a thing. So you, right there, by default, you only have time for one more thing.
Yep.
And I think most of us do this. I think most of us try to have 4, 5, 6 things on the plate. And the problem is none of them become productive.
Yeah.
But you're already acknowledging, you're so far ahead of most people because you're already acknowledging, you just said, and even having a healthy relationship with my girl. Like I said, that's one of those things. And just acknowledging that's all you got time for, man. You got your family's farm.
Yep.
You got your dope ass band.
Yep.
And you got your girl.
Yep.
Don't try to do anything else. Otherwise, all of them will suffer. And that's what I'm getting at. Is like everything suffers if you spread yourself too thin. If you keep it down to 3 things on your plate, you can actually make all 3 things dope as fuck. So most people who aren't musicians, right?
Yep.
Where our music is a permanent thing, just like your girl.
Yep.
Or your day job.
Yep.
We can always just have 3 things, period.
Yep.
But most people who aren't a musician, that other project can come and go.
Yep.
And that's like an investment opportunity or a company that they're starting, or they have other things. So most people, I think, almost have it easier than us, because as musicians, we're almost always going to have a day job.
Right.
Until we don't, because the music finally took off.
Right.
And in some capacity, we're going to have a girl.
Yep.
Right? Or a guy if you're,
yep.
whatever. If you're a girl or gay, whatever.
Yep.
Whatever. You guys get my fucking point. We're men talking about these things, so don't get all fucking weird and think, why are you only talking respect females? Shut up. It's 2 fucking dudes talking. Fucking shut up.
And your relationship with your bandmates is basically a fucking marriage in and of itself.
100%. Yep. You're married to 4 dudes.
You have a lot of personalities.
Ask your wife how hard it is to be married to you. And then just realize you're in 4 more of those.
I know. My wife's a fucking saint, by the way, the shit that she deals with.
Anybody that thinks being in a band is just pure fun. No. Here's all the dudes watching this right now. Anybody who thinks being in a band is just pure fun, here's what I want you to do. Ask your wife how difficult it is to be married to you. She's going to be honest. It's fucking pretty tough. Being in a band is being in a marriage with 4 of you.
Exactly. You got 4 different egos in the room. You got 4 people take things this way. People take things that way. 4 different sets of needs. If I call Kyle or I call Colin, I'll approach the phone call 2 different ways.
Really?
Not necessarily, because we all talk the same. Where it's like, hey, fucker.
I really want to know about that. Okay,
so
how do you open a call with Kyle versus Colin? Like, is one of them like, hey, bud, and the other one's like, hey, bitch? Is it like that?
Both of them, it's usually like, what's going on, you fuck? But then like,
What's up, cocksucker?
Kyle's mind travels a lot quicker than than Colin's does. His attention span's a lot shorter. So with Kyle, it's right to the point. Conversation's quick. We move on. Where me and Colin tend to chat and BS a little bit more. You know, we'll get the point out, but it's usually through a longer conversation, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does actually.
Not that one's more of a buddy than the other one. Me
but
and
one
Kyle's
is vastly
great.
a superior human.
That's just
my words, not his.
Yeah, that's all. That's Jared. No, but that's just like what it's funny, and I hate to pick on Kyle, but me and Kyle are great fucking friends. We've known each other forever, so we can talk shit about each other, and it doesn't matter. Kyle calls me one night. I'm riding home from dinner with Lexi, and I get a call from Kyle, and usually when I get a phone call from Kyle, it's something somewhat band related.
These fuckers, hold on, I gotta just fucking these fucking cocksuckers in chat. All right, so we're talking about unchecked messages. Kyle chimes in. He goes, current status: 8,500 emails, 158 messages, 16 voicemails, and fucking. But here's where it gets really funny. Fucking Joe DeRocher jumps in and goes, 158 messages, all from Jared Singer trying to get you to respond to a podcast date. I love you guys. You guys
that's
are the
fucking
best.
Funny. You know what I love
great.
about all these guys is they just
here.
they jump in and they talk shit on chat, and we're all such good friends, being all not just within the band, but the bands that we play with. We're just buddies. We love giving each other shit. We love drinking beers.
I like you guys
about
too,
the good
because
fucking time.
And not only that, but you guys don't seem cliquey.
Right.
The music scene
I
was a part
that
of.
Shit.
The music scene I was a part of, which is now literally 15 to 20 years ago is when I got in.
Yep.
Extremely cliquey.
Yep.
There was, and not only was it cliquey, but there was more than one click.
Right.
And yeah, it's just I'm already seeing some of that happen again with the younger generation because it's natural.
Yep.
But I will give you guys some serious props, man. You're doing a much better job than we did, because if there is a click, there's only a couple. They're not that dope to be in, so they're not. You know what I mean? They're not perverting things yet.
I just don't understand the benefit of that.
I don't know what the benefit was, but I can tell you the motivation, and it's a lack of stage time.
Yeah.
So it was a competitive thing, and it was like we don't want to give. Look, we're going to play in front of 500 people. We don't want some random band to open that show. No, we want our buddies' band, who we think is good, to get that opportunity, because we know there's only so many stages and only so many shows, especially when you start opening for like national stuff, right? So you get a national act that comes through, and maybe you're direct support.
Yep.
But the bar owner calls you to put the actual bill together, because the bar owner is actually depending on you to bring 1,000 people through the door, so he can afford to pay this national headliner. When you start getting into that, you start getting into clicks, because there's asses on the line too, right? So guys want to fucking work with people they know and trust.
Is that a click, or is that just putting together a good show and knowing who's gonna best deliver on the bill?
Okay, it's the former in an isolated incident, but when it starts trending over 6 months to a year to 3 years to 5 years, and it's the same shit, then it's a click.
That makes sense. And I just like. I just like hanging out with people.
I think I said former, I meant latter.
Yeah. I like playing with a bunch of different bands. I like a bunch of different styles of music. I appreciate a bunch of different styles of performances and whatnot. Obviously, we know bills that we fit better into than others, so we'll maybe take a show over another show, but we're pretty much a band that will play anything and everything, anywhere, anytime. So as far as clicks,
the only other band I've ever heard say that is a band called B, and they were are some of the greatest people I know in this industry and some of the best musicians I've ever met in my life. Dan Knight and Sean Ware. Dan Knight even moved to LA and became Billy Ray Cyrus's bass player.
That's freaking gnarly.
That's the
Billy
only
Ray.
group. That's the only group I've ever heard say what you just said, which is we'll basically play anywhere, anytime.
Yep. And we have, you know, we've played anything from metal shows to blues gigs to punk rock gigs to fucking you name it. You know, we've played so many of those different shows. And we always have a good time going and playing those gigs. So I don't like we're levitating above the rest of you, that, you know, you gotta be at this certain type of thing. You know, obviously when there's stakes on the line,
right,
you gotta have somebody that's
right,
you know is going to deliver.
That's why I love.
But as far as like seeing people out and about and just hanging out and bullshitting, like, it doesn't matter what your fucking band is, like, or what your band does. Us band as a whole, we all have the same mentality. We'll fucking sit at the bar and have a beer with you, and we don't give a fuck about the other shit.
I loved the way Joe Spanbauer did things.
Joe Spanbauer is the man.
When I came into the industry,
rock star.
Joe handled it in a very direct and literal way. Okay, so he'd go, "Hey, I'm going to give you the shot to open the show.
Yep.
Your job," this is why I love Joe, "this is what your job is as the opener.
Yep.
I need you to have 50 people there by 9 p.m. So when you start playing, there's 50 people in the building.
There's a built-in crowd.
There's 50 people in the building.
Yep.
It's an 800-person venue.
Right.
Now, you need to understand, Jared, while you're playing to your 50 friends, who have paid, by the way, because you get one guest spot per band member.
Yep.
So 45 of them have paid.
Yep.
Right? And then we all have girlfriends or a parent or whatever.
Yep.
Your actual job is to entertain people as they come through the door for the real show that's coming behind you. They come through the door in the winter. Some venues, we have a coat check. Right?
Yep.
That's a whole 5-minute process. Just paying your little thingy, getting your little fucking your bracelet, right?
Yep.
Your 21 thing, doing coat check, and then getting to the bar and getting your drink. That is your job, is to entertain those people. So there's something happening while that's all going on, and you've brought 45 to 50 people. And the reason it's important you bring 45 to 50 paid customers to come see your band is so there's already people on the floor watching you, which encourages new people as they enter to come up. So by the time the second band gets on, there's an actual energy in the building. This is fucking common sense.
Yep.
Unless you're 17 and it's your first fucking show.
Well, right.
And you go, "Well, we're dope. Why do we have to bring 50 people?"
Yep.
This is fucking why, dude. Because that's
how shows work.
And this is just the musical entertainment side of things.
Right.
We're not even talking about how the bar makes money yet.
Right.
We're not even talking about how venues stay open and people keep jobs so you have a dope sound. And we're not talking about any of that shit
yet. This is just for the performance in and of itself.
Exactly. This is just so their show goes well.
Right.
Well,
because you think about that as a consumer. You know, you come through the door and there's...
Most of us don't think about that as a consumer, by the way, but keep going.
But you come through the door, you get there while the
now
openers...
Now that we've said it, think about this as you explain it.
You're the consumer, you're walking through the door, you're there, say, for the headliner, but you know there's going to be an opener playing. The worst thing that can happen is an opener that's not doing their job, or they're just not good, because that immediately puts you in a certain mood, you know, and then you don't go into the headliner's performance with, you know, a good attitude or you know, a good energy, a good vibe, you know, whatever that's gonna make the most out of the performance and the experience. So, you know, you got to understand when you're the headliner, you're there for you're there for the coat rack, you're there for the bar, you're in a sense background noise to get the people ready to go. That's just what you are. Put on a good fucking show.
I think you said headliner, which that's definitely not the job of the headliner.
Opener, I meant.
Yeah.
Opener. My bad.
Maybe you did say opener and I'm tripping, but I think you said headliner.
I might have said headliner.
Yeah, but that's your job as the opener.
And if that's what you're doing as a headliner, maybe you shouldn't be a headliner.
And right now, I think people need to consider rebuilding this is just side note. I think people should reconsider filling out a bill.
Yep.
I think we got to go back to, just temporarily, I think we got to go back to what I was doing when our scene collapsed. This is something I've never really heard of anywhere ever. It was something that I did to kind of save a show.
Yep.
Our scene kind of fucking imploded, right? This was a long time ago. And I realized we didn't have any real headliners anymore that could go on at midnight and keep people there till 2 a.m., which is what their job used to be.
Yep.
Do your job, right? So I started redesigning a bill. I had an opener. I had a supporting act. Because right now, here's how it usually works. You have opener. The second band is a feature. The third band is direct support, right?
Yep.
And then, or support, whatever. And then you have your headliner. When I did those, I had an opener, I had a supporting act, I had a headliner, and then I had a closing band, which was basically the same thing as an opener, but in reverse. Your job is to...
We've been that band before.
Exactly, dude. And I think we need to do that temporarily.
The after party.
Yeah, and I think we need to do that temporarily while the COVID shit is still kind of a thing.
For sure.
Which I wonder, let me ask you that, man. How much longer do you think this bullshit lasts now that we're going into another winter? Do you think people stay nervous and scared? Or do you think people go, I'm not doing this again. I'm going to fucking shows? Because winter shows in Minneapolis are way better than summer shows.
Yeah, because there's not as much shit going on.
Yeah, in summer. And
what do you want to do? You don't want to be outside. It's fucking 30 degrees outside.
I mean, there's
on a
ice
good
fishing.
Day, right.
There's ice fishing, and that's about it in the winter, right?
But yeah, more people go to bars and go to music venues in the winter,
especially local shows,
right? Especially,
and that's the other
shows.
thing is our national tours die down here, so
they
there's less
nobody
competition.
Nobody wants to come here in the fucking winter.
Thank you. Right. So in summer, it's kind of the opposite, right?
Yep.
You get all the festivals, you get all the tours, plus you get all the family vacations, plus you get holidays,
yeah,
plus
there's
you get
nice
fishing,
amphitheaters,
plus you get hunting, plus you get fucking state fair.
Just camping in general.
Yeah. It's just not...
People have their summer cabins that they go to on weekends and shit like that.
Winter is primo time for national bands to record.
Yep.
And it's primo time for local bands to play shows.
Definitely. I agree with that 100%. And I feel like coming out of this, you're going to have the people that are just more hesitant regardless, no matter how far down the road we get. And you're not going to change those people. And I'm not saying anything negative against those people either. If you are that type of person, take caution, do whatever you got to do. But people got to live their lives. And people are wanting to live their lives. They've realized, I shouldn't say necessarily realized, but they've gotten to the...
Whoops. Let's get that turned off. Oh, it's glitching. Sorry, I didn't mean to do this. Let's just do that. There we
go. They've just gotten to the point where it's like, is living my life worth the risk? Some people say yes, some people say no. You gotta, what are you gonna do about it? Am I gonna stay home and not travel down the interstate because there's accidents when it snows, or are you gonna go and do your shit?
Right.
You live with risk, on a daily basis.
That's
some risk outweighs the other. But
and that's what I'm wondering, right? Everybody has an opinion now.
Yep.
That's fucking obvious. But I'm curious.
Everybody has a way of voicing their opinion now.
Right. But I'm just, when I mean it's obvious, as I can say, I'm just getting at, like, just go to a show and see who comes and who doesn't come.
Yep.
You can get a pretty quick grasp on how people are feeling right now about things.
Yep.
Like, there's bands that a year ago were drawing 500 to 1,000 people, and now they're drawing 200.
Right.
And that's a good fucking night for them.
That's a good show, yeah.
So I'm curious if the general public is willing to do that shit again for another fucking winter, because I guarantee you bands aren't willing to do the whole online thing like they did last winter.
It's just not the same thing. I'm all about putting content on your YouTube page and shit like that, but using live streams as a substitute for live shows, it's just not. It's not ideal, you know. It's just not. It doesn't have the same effect. You're not portraying yourself artistically the same way. The issue, you know, personally, we love playing shows, you know. That's how
you guys are a really good live band.
That's how we started, you know. That's what we do, is play fucking live shows. So, you know, COVID has taught us to put some focus on creating content and, you know, making videos and doing stuff for a YouTube channel, because that's another avenue to promote yourself.
Yeah.
But I think you know, where things all come together is when you're doing both. When you're hitting your YouTube channel and playing live, playing your regular shows.
Why don't we do this? I got to take a leak anyways, so let's play the song. I think I did them in order.
Fallen is the first one?
I think so. Is that the first one you put in the email?
Yes. So Fallen is a track that we just released, came out last Friday. We got a pretty cool music video for it. We put a lot of work into it, so I hope y'all enjoy.
All right, and then when we get back, we'll break this down a little bit more.
Decent.
Fucking decent, bud. There we go.
Remember all the times that we would say goodbye. We would always sit and wonder why the days would go so fast. I wish that they would last. I wish they never passed. 'Cause you hate me, but you won't never stay. 'Cause I'm falling.
Yeah, when you made that fucking post. Like, we were freezing our asses off making this video. I was looking at that shit, and I was like, Kyle looks super cold. His nose is so fucking
nose,
red.
Rudolph.
Dude, when I commented, I was like, Colin was probably fine. Because as a drummer, that's almost a dream environment. You know?
It really
just fucking
is.
throwing down. And fucking, doesn't matter if it's 40 degrees, boys. I'm good.
And Colin was flipping his hair, throwing it around. It looked good.
No, it's a good looking video, man.
Yeah, we had fun making
I
it.
mean, clearly there's a lot of work that went into that. And I just got to give respect and props when there's effort put forward and the presentation is great like that.
For sure.
You know, it looks good and it's got a professional vibe to it. Because honestly, man, videos are like music. It's like, oh, is it good? Like, that's about as subjective as do you like it? You know what I mean? That changes based on who you're talking to. So the way I view like a video, because honestly, dude, I think I'm kind of dumb and I don't really understand like the point of a lot of music videos. Like, there's a story happening and like there's like, it's very artistic, and usually that shit flies right over my head, and I'm like, it looked cool. Right. Like, that's about the depth of my ability to evaluate a music video. So I can't critique any of that shit. But I do want to dive into the song.
Yeah.
So what's the song what's the song mean? Like, what's it about?
So this song has kind of been in the Issue catalog for a long time.
Like before Colin joined and shit?
This that riff after the first chorus is a riff I've had forever. And I've had different kind of variations for the song. I had a different chorus and stuff. And when we started working on this tune, we started demoing this song probably 3 years ago. And it was a song that, or while we were writing it and while it was morphing, we were kind of like, okay, this will be a cool song for an album. Or for an EP, whatever. Not necessarily a single, but a decent album song. And this song kind of kicked my ass as far as lyrics and melodies go. I sat, we demoed, we did a kind of a final demo once Colin Johnson joined the band. We did a demo basically right at the time that it was like, okay, Colin's gonna be the new guitar player. We demoed out this song and 3 other songs, I believe, at the time. And we made some changes at that time. And I listened to the song many an hour in the fucking tractor trying to figure out what avenue I'm going to take lyrically, melody-wise, stuff like that. Because it's a more melodic song. It's a little bit lighter. I mean, as much as I hate to say it, it has a little bit of a poppy aspect to it. Not that that's necessarily negative, but
it definitely feels a little bit more on the soft rock side of things compared to the rest of your catalog.
Definitely.
Which is honestly, I'm totally cool with switching it up for a song or two on every single album, as long as that doesn't become somebody's main sound.
Right, for sure.
Like, especially if the song hits, don't become Aerosmith.
Right.
Where
you're just doing ballads.
You finally get your number one hit. Yeah. Did you know that they had never had a number one hit their entire career until fucking, I think it was, I close my eyes.
Oh, I did know that actually. And that was in the 90s.
Yeah, they had a 25-year career, almost a 30-year career by the time that fucking Armageddon movie. And then as soon as that went number one, it's all they did for the rest of Aerosmith's career. It was all power ballads. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, just as long as the band doesn't do that.
And this still has some, it has some hard rock aspects to it. This is, if we were going to call a song by the Issue a ballad, this would be a Issue ballad, I suppose. But that's the reason I think I struggled with it so much. From a melody and lyrical standpoint, it's because our other songs are hard rocking. Lyrics come from a somewhat angry point of view, which I find easier to write lyrics when I'm in an angry mindset where it's like fuck this and fuck that, and I can write songs easily when I'm in that mindset, I guess. And this song I struggled
that or heartbreak, right?
Right. And I think the reason I was struggling with this so much is because I wasn't in a heartbreak situation. I was engaged. I was getting married. I was happy. And I was like, oh, this is confusing.
Speaking of, just in case anybody doesn't like relate to what you're saying, I totally do. I haven't written a good song since I've been with my wife because I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not miserable every day. I'm not pissed off. Like, I get mad. I get pissed off, but not like to my core where it becomes inspirational to make art about it.
And for me, where the lyrics came from, they kind of blindsided me one morning when I was making coffee, and it was kind of like we had studio time scheduled with Ian, and it was like, we're going and recording this song. I fucking need something to show Ian, like, this is where I'm going, lyrics and melody and stuff. So I was like, fuck. So I was really thinking about the song a lot, and I was kind of thinking, you know, about like my relationship, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, how we got to this point, and I was thinking it from almost from like my now wife's point of view, if that makes any sense. Thinking about like how it would feel to be her dealing with this fucking guy that is me, and the shit that she has, you know, gone through and stuff, being with somebody that's in a band, you know, dealing with all these certain aspects and whatnot of the type of person that I am. So that's kind of where the song, you know, really came from, was almost from a third person point of view, dealing with myself. And that's where it's like I hate you, but I love you, and I'm here for you. And that's what the song really is. Like, and that's, you know, the verses are, you know, more reminiscent of the good times, and the chorus is like, you fucking cocksucker, like, why did you, you know, you do, why is it that I love you? Why do you do this to me? You know, like type deal. But that's what really a relationship is. Somebody that you really truly love. You go through some shit with them, and sometimes you might think that you hate that person. But for whatever reason, you have some sort of chemistry, or you lock in a certain way where it's like, no matter what happens, I'm still here for you. I'll still support you through this shit. And that's what the song really is about, I guess, you know, is that dynamic.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So tell me this, man. Other than going up and working like the day job shit, right?
Yep.
As a musician who's like really doing it, you're in the grind, your band's doing really well. You guys got some really good buzz going for you.
We're working hard.
Your shows do well. Online, you guys do pretty well. Your streams are doing pretty well, like your audio streams on Spotify and shit, blah, 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 blah. Take me through a day as you. So you get off work. What's the rest of your day look like as an actual musician? Like, how is it that you manage your time, your creativity, your process? As somebody who's really actually doing it the way a real working musician does it. You're not a rock star. You're not making you know.
So as far as my day goes, the band is 100% part of my day all day, even while I'm doing the day job farm grind.
Fair. Okay.
Because like I said, I'm in the tractor. I have free time.
Fair.
So
just
like,
take it from the top of the day then.
So like when I get up,
what's an average day in the life of gay Clay Deters?
Well, it's getting shit rolling at the farm, and then I'm checking my emails and communicating with people that I need to communicate, because I can't be like playing my instrument and, you know, practicing and stuff like that. I can't do that while I'm working. So I take care of the other shit. I handle my emails. Like right now, making sure that any promotional stuff that we're doing with the single is off the ground and everybody's on the same page, communicating with my bandmates, scheduling shows, scheduling studio time, scheduling band practices or videos, stuff like that. I do all that shit during the day while I'm doing my day job. That's because I can. We have these fucking computers in our pocket that allow us to do all these things at the same time. So I kind of do a 2-for-1 during the day. And then, when I get off work and I, get back to my place, I have a little studio set up in my basement, Logic, all that shit. I have an 8-channel interface. Actually, I have 2 8-channel interfaces down in my studio right now. We can do up to 16 channels downstairs, with a little bit of outboard gear. So I work on, songwriting, practicing. We're always playing shows. We do some cover shows with another band too. So I got to learn songs for that. And then deal with shit that I have to do on my computer, and stuff like that. And usually when I'm doing shit like that, it's like I'll kick back on the couch, watch the Wild game, handle my computer shit at the evening while I'm chilling with the wife. That's pretty much my day. When she goes to bed, because she's a nurse, she's an RN, so she gets up early and she starts at 7. So usually, when she goes to bed, I'll meander downstairs and tinker in my studio,
Sure.
playing riffs, working out songs, stuff like that.
Right.
That's kind of my day, I guess.
No, that makes sense. So you basically do something when you get off work. You do something physically, musically every single day.
I try to. I don't always, but I try to, whether it's picking away at shit on my acoustic guitar, or I'll have something that I'll be thinking about during the day where it's like, I got to go home and work on that. And, otherwise I'll just be obsessively thinking about it. So I'll go home and work on it. And writing, I'm trying to not like write songs physically with a guitar, but write in a fucking notebook. Because I'll take notes in my phone during the day while I'm driving tractor. Great thing about technology, I throw my AirPods in and I'll listen to demos. Lyric lines will pop in here and there, certain melodies. I'll do I'll pull up voice memos and hum a melody or something in my voice memos. And usually, when Lexi goes to bed, or if it's something that I need to take care of right away because I just can't stop thinking about it, I'll go downstairs, kind of digest what that is. I like physically writing out lyrics. I feel it helps me digest and process and write better lyrics. I'll take a shitload of notes on my phone and then I'll go through my notes, write stuff down, change lyrics here. This flows a little bit better. This rhymes better. Or I'll see it in front of me physically. I'll write it down and be like, I don't like the way that progresses. I'll actually use this for a third verse instead of a second verse because I think it's going to be more impactful here instead of there. I like doing that physically, pen and paper. When I'm doing lyrics, that's kind of my process, I guess. That's how I get all the shit out of my head.
Yeah.
Sometimes, certain songs don't go that way. Some shit like our previous release, that was very much of a tangent song. No, our last single that we put out this summer, that was a tangent song. That was one we were jamming. Colin Johnson had that main riff. He started playing it, and I was just kind of like, hold on, fucking everybody stop. Let's chase that down. This could be cool. And we just fucking jammed it. Colin and Kyle locked into that groove right away. Lyrics popped into my head. We turned on fucking voice memos. and we started playing it. I sang whatever came to mind, had a fucking song. You know, sometimes shit like that happens, and you gotta. What's great about voice memos is being able to capture that instantaneous moment out of nowhere. You could capture it. Like, I had no way of writing the lyrics down. I was just singing shit that was popping into my head. Right. So being able to go back and listen, oh yeah, that's what I said here. That's where I was going with this. That's kind of how I wanted to say it when I was going here with the melody.
Do you kind of write the lyrics as you write the melodies to the songs?
I generally write lyrics as I'm writing the melodies because that's how I get the rhythm. Like certain words have a certain rhythm to them. And that's how I kind of write my melodies. It's like, okay, this is how that flows. That's how that pieces together. This word is gonna be impactful at this stage of the song or at this riff or this drum fill, blah, 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 blah.
It ain't my bad.
Yeah. You know, so I find myself...
We were joking about that before the show started. It ain't my bad.
I find myself writing the outline of the melody and of the lyrics while we're jamming. And then it's once I'm either at home or in the tractor where I'm listening back to what we were doing where I'll fine-tune lyrics. But I get certain flows and like the lyrical concept almost always put together while we're all in the room jamming. For some reason, it's a vibe of what everybody's doing, how the guitar is flowing with the drums and the bass. And it's like, okay, I know exactly where this is going to fit into the puzzle. Yeah. And I'll put it there. And I know the word that's going to fit that moment. So I have my keyword, and then later on, I'll go back and fill in the pieces around it from a lyrical standpoint.
For sure. Well, listen, man, it's 8:30. Let's play another song, dude.
Let's do it.
We still got a little bit more time. Let's play another tune.
I think this is we did an acoustic version of the song Moving On off our EP, Moving On. And this is just kind of our acoustic take on that song.
Dick. Here we go.
One, two, three, four. Distance between you and I, but every time I see your face, I know it bothers you.
That look you gave to the camera right there at the end was
Sensual.
very, very sexual and intimate.
Sensual.
Fucking decent, bud.
Jesus Christ, boys. That's a fucking decent video.
Fucking decent look, bud. Very fucking sensual, bud.
Very sensual. Fucking embarrassing me in front of the neighbors. Fucking Joe DeRocher. That shit was funny. Our buds.
Those guys are coming back on soon too.
Good. I like doing some of that acoustic shit. I was a big fan of the like Alice in Chains, Unplugged. Well, all the Unplugged shit, especially. But I'm a big fan of Alice in Chains, so I liked watching the Alice in Chains Unplugged. STP, Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah,
another big influence of mine. Kyle's as well. He's a big Stone Temple Pilots guy. I don't know why. I always liked diving into the regular song and then comparing that to the acoustic version they did and how they differentiate the two from each other and you know what they do differently.
One of my favorite examples of that is a really heavy band called Misery Signals.
I've heard of them.
They have a song called Ebb and Flow.
Yes, I know the song.
And they have an acoustic version of that song that is a completely different vibe.
Really?
Same song. 100% the same song. But the dude sings all of it instead of screaming. And the way they just went after it, it's two completely different takes by the same artist.
It's a different emotion.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking... And honestly, now I want to hear a hybrid. Right. So now I want to hear the original version with the singing vocals over it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's that fucking cool.
Totally.
I want 3 versions of one song from one band.
Yeah.
Call me crazy.
You know, and that's just interesting. And what a way to really show what you are as a musician
you were
and as a
say
fan.
Double dip the chip. What a fucking way to double dip the profit chip.
You know, a little DP action.
That's a different kind of double dip.
But you know, like we were said before, we're big 2-for-1 guys.
Big 2-for guy here. Big 2-for guy.
But for real, like, what a better way to really show, like, hey, like, yeah, we do this really well, but we can do this, you know, and just, you know, I don't know. I think it's cool being able to, you know, be different. You're your thing. You're your thing. This is what we are. But branching out and being able to kind of put yourself into different places to maybe attract a fan that wouldn't have necessarily been attracted to you, but they listen to the acoustic version and they're like, oh, now like hearing it from this standpoint, the song resonates to me. And then they go back and listen to the original version and they get into it because the song resonated to them and now they like get the song where before they maybe didn't necessarily get the song.
Sure.
And sometimes people need that stripped down, little more emotional version to be like, oh, okay, now this makes sense. Now I'm going to go back and re-listen to this shit and it's like, okay, I get it.
With the setup I'm building over here behind us, and I've talked about this openly on the podcast. I'm not breaking news here by any stretch. But this is set up back here to actually do like small acoustic sets.
That'd be sick.
That's the goal down the road. So you guys should come in and do it, dude.
We'd do a fucking acoustic set.
And I'm saying like small sets, not only like acoustic and stripped down, but also short,
right?
Like 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, 3 songs.
Yeah, 3-4 songs, fucking maybe 5 if they're all super, maybe 6 or 7 if they're super. If all your songs are 3 minutes, fine, maybe we do up to 7,
right?
But I'm talking like a 20-minute set max,
and that's all you need, though. And
then we hang out,
right?
Fucking
hang out, shoot the shit,
and I don't even think we need to move. I was thinking, and then we'll come over here and we'll hang out. I honestly, I don't even think we'll do that anymore. I'm thinking I'll just have the camera set up in a way where we'll just we'll kick it.
Yeah, just
like we'll just hang out
in set,
crack some beers, fucking yeah.
I think that's great.
Chill, talk about music, fucking whatever.
You know what I like? Colin Johnson is the newest member. For those who aren't already aware of that, he's been a great asset to the band.
He's got a great ass.
He's got a great ass.
He's got a one-of-a-kind grade A ass.
He's been a huge asset to the band. Obviously, his guitar playing is
huge ass as well.
Big ass. Colin, you fucking ass.
Great ass to the band.
Both Collins are just they're both fucking asses, you know.
Assets.
Assets. The female version of ass. An asset. We have our asses and our assets.
You guys should do a parody. You should do a parody album called Clay Dieter and the Assets, but spell it like that: ASSETTES.
Oh,
the
yeah.
assets.
The assets, and we'll put tap dance shoes on and the whole 9 yards. We'll get our bow ties on and really do it. And the assets, classical style.
Oh my god. That actually would just be a good band name, The Assets, but do it like that.
For sure.
And then have it be chicks.
Right.
Be fucking, that's a
The
good band
assets.
name. Y'all can have that. That's free.
But yeah, what else?
I just asked that you hit that red subscribe button. That shit was just free. I just gave you $1 million band name right there.
Yeah, hit the subscribe button.
All
God.
I'm asking you to do is hit that red button.
It's so easy to do, yet so far away at the same time.
It's the easiest way to support the podcast or any artist that you give even just 2 cents.
What I've been telling
just
people
hit the
lately,
red button. If you really want to help, like if you really love a band or a podcast, join their Patreon or like, because there is no more network, there is no more salaries. Like this is it. This is how we make money now, and like. The reason everybody pressures you guys to hit the subscribe button is because we do not get paid by YouTube until we hit 1,000 subs and a bunch of watch hours, blah, blah, blah. So, and then even still, like if I were to monetize right now, I'd make like a nickel per podcast because we only have 300 subs, right? At 1,000, maybe I'm making a dime or 15 cents. It's not like suddenly I'm making $20 a show, which still isn't very much, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to get millions of subscribers and millions of views in order to make a substantial amount of money.
And the only way
online.
to do that is when people hit the fucking red subscribe button.
And that's what we're getting at. And that's why when you have 3 million subscribers, it doesn't matter how many more people. You don't need 10. You don't make you don't make any actual money off subscribers. But the smaller guys who don't have even 1 million subscribers, they do need you to hit that button because hitting that red button puts my channel into the algorithm and says people like this fucking shit. We want to show it to more people because we want more people to watch YouTube. Jared Singer or The Issue. These are things that people enjoy watching. Let's send it up. So that's the easiest thing to do. Hit the fucking red button.
And I've been telling people,
throw a comment in the chat.
Yeah, a like and a comment.
Call
it's
me
super
names.
easy. You know, it takes like 3 seconds out of your day.
Unless you're not logged in, and that can be a pain in the ass.
then it's a real bitch. But I've been telling people because I've had a few people recently ask me like, "What's the best way to support?" 250. What's the best way to support the band? Like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube.
Well, there's a number of ways.
I don't know. There's a number of ways, but I've been telling people like, you know, you tell me like, "Hey, the video's great," and I'm like, "Did you hit our subscribe button?" Oh no, you know, I didn't even think of it. I'm like, hit the subscribe button. You may not go and watch all our YouTube videos, but it doesn't have any sort of effect on you whatsoever, negatively, if you do.
Yeah, and you know, it sounds weird, but you're right, because hit the red subscribe button, even if this isn't something you're going to want to watch over and over again, hit subscribe and just don't watch any more shit. Like, because
you don't. It's so easy. It's different than like Facebook and Instagram when you follow something that shits in your face every day. But how often do you open your YouTube app and just scroll through the shit that's on your homepage that you're already subscribed to?
Some people do that a lot.
I know some people
I
do that
actually
a lot.
do that quite a bit too. Like I go to YouTube for random entertainment. So I actually do that. I actually hit home and I go, what's up here? And I will
Well, here's
let
the
that
difference.
pull me down a rabbit hole though, dude. Like I don't know what I'm in the mood for. So check this out. This is going to happen when you leave tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm down here kind of decompressing after the podcast. Maybe I'll get on the phone with somebody and have a great conversation.
Yeah.
Wind down that way. Maybe I'll fucking get wasted. I don't know. Probably not, though. Most realistically, here's what's about to happen. I go to YouTube, and I don't want to look at my stats, right? But I got to go to YouTube and do some maintenance post-show, post-podcast, right? From there, I hit home, and that will pull me down a number of YouTube rabbit holes. And it's all going to be whatever's on my homepage. I actually do exactly what you're asking. That's me. As a creator, I even do this. Think about that. As a YouTube creator, I even do this. So sometimes it'll be, oh, we're going down a Marvel rabbit hole. YouTube also knows I really like Game of Thrones. So if there's a new Game of Thrones trailer, that'll pop up. Boom, I'm right down a Game of Thrones rabbit hole. Sometimes it's woodworking. It's almost like sometimes YouTube knows what mood I'm in before I know what mood I'm in. But they're not 100% sure. So they'll throw 16 random videos at me. They're not fucking random. They know. Out of these 16 things, one of these is going to intrigue this bitch. Right. And he's going to fucking hit this and be done for 4 hours.
Right.
And what they don't know is I actually only watched it for 45 minutes. Then I got bored, picked up my guitar.
Went to a different video. Yeah. and I'll retract when I say that because now that you say that, I realize I do the exact same thing. And I think where the tide started to change with that, and I might be wrong with this too, but I think where the tide started to change with YouTube was smart TVs and Roku shit like that.
I was just going to say, as soon as you were going to say this, I was like, oh, fuck, wait a minute. It depends on if I'm on my phone or if I'm on my computer.
Right.
Because if I'm sitting here at my computer, it's a completely different YouTube experience than if I'm on my phone. You're right. If I'm on my phone and I go to YouTube, I basically watch whatever pops up.
Yep.
Or I'm going there and I'm searching for something.
Searching immediately.
And going to look for something. But on my computer, where it's basically integrated in 4 different rooms, I have this fucking thing wired. It's wild now. I can watch fucking TV in other rooms and bring my mouse over there. And I'm basically just on my computer.
Right.
But, I mean, Hulu, fucking Apple TV.
That's great.
I got everything over there. Everything's just a glorified monitor now.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's
through splitters and
fucking
bullshit.
Awesome.
It is dope. But you're right. It's a completely different experience when I'm on my computer or a smart TV or even the Xbox.
Right. Because that's how I am. And
I have different profiles. So if I go on fucking on my Roku or my Xbox on YouTube, I'm definitely guaranteed to run into some guy playing SimCity or City Skylines or some sort of there's this guy I follow on one of my profiles because this is my point. I have different Gmail accounts that I've randomly logged into different devices. And so it depends on what device I'm in. Because if I get on my Xbox YouTube, it's video game YouTube stuff.
Sure.
Because I'm on my Xbox. I YouTubed, how do I beat this level? How do I fix this? How do I do that? Right? I'm on my computer. There's way more production stuff, manufacturing stuff, home repair stuff.
Sure.
Right? If I'm on my phone, it's music, it's comedy, it's podcasts.
Right.
I'm just now realizing this, and this is because I'm logged into different profiles on different devices.
And I have the same thing going on. It's kind of crazy. I was just
YouTube
realizing the
thinks
same
I'm like
thing.
4 different people. Well, YouTube thinks I'm 4 different people.
what I dig about it is because I have my personal one and then I have the band's YouTube account.
Yeah.
And then
same thing, podcast, personal, right?
So what I've done with the band's YouTube account, I've somewhat treated it like social media. So I'll go and find bands that I like, and I subscribe to their channel. I
just figured out, by the way, how we're gonna cheers cigars. I think I just figured it out. We gotta touch tips.
Just stabbing. The stab and go.
It's just a quick docking.
The stab and go. It's like the come and go gas stations.
Let's touch tips. Sorry, keep going, dude. I don't know why that just popped in my head right now.
That's
Something
hilarious.
you mentioned, like, or that's something we talked about like an hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
And it just hit me. Like, that's how we cheers with cigars.
That's fucking hilarious. No, but what I was saying is I like go and subscribe to different bands channels and stuff like that. So the band YouTube channel, if I just log on into that, it's all music shit, different bands, this, that, and the other thing. So, you know, I won't even like be paying attention to what I'm logged into. I'll just log into YouTube, and like if I'm on my phone, generally it's to search. But when I'm at home kicking it on the couch, I put the YouTube app on, and I do scroll through shit like that. So if I'm on the band one, I'll just be watching random music videos. When I'm on my personal one, it's all fucking like comedy and shit like that, because that's what I am always watching on my personal YouTube.
And I didn't do
Huge
this
comedy
on purpose.
guy.
I don't think you did it on purpose. I didn't do it on purpose. But it ended up this way, and is where it really hits home for me. Is I remember I had an Amazon Fire Stick in the garage, and I had a TV in the garage, like any fucking red-blooded American male does nowadays, right?
I got my case of Budweisers. I'm going to go watch TV, honey.
You got a stereo? You got a fridge?
I'm smoking cigarettes. Don't bother me out here.
The proper Minnesota garage is you got a stereo, you got a fridge,
and a propane heater nearby.
You got a heater. And you got a TV. And the reason you have all these things in a modern day garage, stereo is obvious. Drinking beers, listening to music, hanging out with the boys.
Obviously.
Fridge, that's the store of the beer that you're drinking with the boys.
Yeah.
Obvious. And in the winter, you just unplug it, but it keeps your beer from freezing.
Yep.
Right? Now it becomes an insulator. Heater, also obvious.
Yep.
The TV
It's
is
30
the
degrees
TV
out.
is the one that doesn't seem obvious, but here's why. Because if you're a red-blooded American male living in the modern-day Midwest and you're not a fucking rich, pompous-ass motherfucker, you work on your own fucking car, and the best way to become an expert mechanic in the modern-day world is fucking YouTube.
Man. I've done so much work on my car just from YouTube. So I'm
realizing that there was a huge period of time where the TV in the garage was logged into a different account, because the only thing I ever watched, and I just happened to sign into this account to do this. Sure. This was way before we knew what YouTube was, and all these accounts started 10 years ago. And I was on this because I had to log in for whatever reason. I wanted to subscribe. That's what it was. I wanted to subscribe to a dude who was showing you how to repair,
doing all that
Audis.
car shit. Yep.
And it was specific because it was like there was one or two guys and that
Audis
knew how to work on Audis.
Yeah,
properly.
They're harder to work on too.
And it was pretty much any repair you typed in. They ran a shop and they knew this like niche that they were in. So there was 2 or 3 guys, and 2 of them I liked. One was extremely effective, but the other guy would like supplement. You know, maybe the first guy didn't have the video for the repair, but the second guy did, even though I didn't like him as much. That shit took over that TV, because the only time I ever looked anything up on YouTube in the garage, and YouTube didn't know I was in a room. This was a whole profile I signed into coincidentally. Everything in there was mechanic, auto, machinery, this, that, the other thing. Same thing, I'd be kicking it. I'd be frustrated at work, drinking beers, listening to music in the garage. Maybe I got done mowing the lawn. Yep. And I'd be coming home from work back in the day, and I'd be like, man, I can't figure out how to bend this part up, running a press brake. So all of a sudden, that shit started showing up in my YouTube video. Like, here's how I fixed this problem, trying to bend this crazy angle with this obscure tool that none of this is supposed to work in this style press brake. But here's how I did it. And I'd go to work the next day and impress my grandpa. Yep. My grandpa would be like, how'd you figure that out? And I'd be like, YouTube. He'd be like, I really like YouTube.
Oh, fuck yeah. Dude, honestly, you know how much...
But in the house, it's a different thing. Down here, it's a different thing. It's music. It's comedy.
Well, there it's a tool for work, though. And what a crazy thing if you just think about what YouTube is and the control, or I shouldn't... Well, the control it has, but just the hold that it has on the world. We're talking about...
You mean like monopoly level of holds?
I'm saying like...
there is no other YouTube.
Well, that, and the fact that when you're working at your job and you're trying to do your job better, your first fucking thought is maybe I can look up a video on YouTube that explains how to do this better, and I can be more performative at whatever it is that I'm doing.
Or
How insane is that? Or just even Google in general.
My favorite thing for me was that the exact example you're talking about, but more specific, is like, okay, I know there's a better way to do this, but I don't really have the ability to explain it.
Right.
So let me see if I can find a YouTube video that shows me what I fucking know is in my head.
Right.
And it gives me the ability now to explain this to all the other idiots in the room like me.
Right.
That is where YouTube empowered me heavily. And this is honestly, man, this is like probably 10 years ago. Because YouTube kind of came out about 15 years ago. Like, I think it actually came out in like 2000 or 2002 or something like that. But it didn't really launch and become a thing.
Well, once Google got a hold of it, then it became more of what YouTube is now.
Yeah, and there were stages in there. But like, God, I was like probably somewhere between 27 and 30.
Sure.
And I was struggling at work to communicate with my team, right? Because I had this idea in my head, but I wasn't smart enough to articulate it and explain it to them.
Yep.
So I started YouTubing shit. And the best way I can explain what I'm talking about without getting too specific is what we talked about early in the podcast. When people were really impressed the fact that I just got this all running. Yep. And I was pretty proud of myself too, because the accomplishment of just getting this all up and running, I was such a noob, dude. I didn't even know what words to search on YouTube to figure out what I knew. I saw in my head what I wanted to do.
Yeah, so you're Googling what to look up on YouTube.
Exactly. That's exactly. I didn't even know the verbiage or the terminology to look for. You see what I'm getting at here?
Yep.
That started when I was 27, 28, 29. That's almost 10 years ago, man.
That's crazy.
Now that is
what year
the norm.
was that?
Fuck at that. I mean,
10 years ago.
Yeah, 10
so,
years ago.
2011,
somewhere between
10?
2011 and 2014 is when that really started to happen on numerous. Because I started to realize there's so many people on YouTube that are experts at this exact thing. All I have to do is figure out how to get into their algorithm. That's what I figured out is like, oh, just do enough searches and eventually you will fucking fall into what you're looking for. And then you can get into a circle of people that are true fucking experts. And then from there, you can find one of those experts that communicates in a way that you perfectly understand. And she presents the information in a way that is so digestible for you. You can actually become an expert at things within a year or two.
Right.
For free. And then we
invented
YouTube University.
Yeah.
Like that term.
Yeah.
Like that started like right around when I was like 30-ish.
Well, and
30-ish people started talking about YouTube University, and it's a real fucking thing, dude. It's a real thing, man.
Wasn't that kind of like the time when YouTube stars started to emerge, where people were realizing like, hey, I can make a fuckload of money
actually
it was on YouTube?
That had already happened. Is what was starting to happen for the rest of us is we were realizing other people had realized they could make money. And like that's when you started seeing basic motherfuckers get on YouTube. Because the true
and the fact that everybody now had smartphones in their pocket at that time.
We already did. That's what made YouTube successful in the first place.
We already did, but now it was like, okay, we know how to use these things. You have kids that are starting out at like, you know, for me, for example, in 2010, I was in fucking
I'm interested. I actually want to know what they think about this too. In the comments, you guys, as we start getting closer to the end of this thing, put in the comments what your guys' thoughts are on this too, because I'm curious as to how you guys saw this evolution.
Well, and I think we kind of talked about it a little bit on the last time I was on, you know, just the kind of generational difference from my generation to yours as far as how YouTube was perceived. And like for me, YouTube was built in growing up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like,
and it's crazy because you're not that much younger. It's not like you're 17 years old. It's not like there's a 20-year age gap difference between the two of us right now. You're not that much younger than me. But it changed a lot in 5 years.
Yep. It changed fast.
Yeah. So
like 2005 to 2012, that was an insane like technological period of time.
Yeah.
As far as computers and cell phones.
Yeah, basically the Obama era.
All that shit goes. It was just like, we can do all this shit now.
Yeah, basically the Obama era.
Yep.
Like end of Bush into Obama. Like the whole fucking world changed.
When did the first iPhone come out? That had to be around like 2005, 6-ish,
I think
right?
it was. I think it was like 04, maybe 06.
Somewhere in there.
At the latest.
Yeah.
But definitely not
And
08.
that's the very
It
first
had to be
version.
like 2004, 2006. And the first original iPhone is nothing like what we think of iPhones right now. It actually is.
I kind of used to
very
like
much the same
carry
thing,
an iPod around.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like, I'm just doing music.
I remember sitting at work one day and I had an iPod and I had a cell phone and I was getting really frustrated with having two devices. And I literally stood up at work and I went, now I just need him to do this. And I went like this. I physically grabbed my phone and my iPad and I like moved them, or my iPod, and I moved them together. And I said, I just need him to do this now.
Steve
and make
Jobs was watching you.
And I go, I just need him to do this now because this fucking shit is dope. But it's just a little bit irritating because I was wearing like really nice office
you know what the
clothes
problem
and
was?
shit. I started to become bulky.
Yeah.
You know? And it was just, and dude, you know what my coworkers looked at me and said? They go, how fucking lazy are you? That's what their response to me was
like, oh, done 5 seconds, it's not loaded.
My proposition of combining my iPhone and my cell phone, right? It was like a flip phone actually. Actually, I think it was it was a flip phone because you couldn't put the music on it.
Yeah,
it was a flip phone and an iPod. And my idea of sandwiching those together like an Oreo to make a new thing that's dope was absurdity. Their response was, that's absurd.
This or that.
2 years later, 10 years later, now that's the norm. People would laugh. You show them an iPod, they're like, what the fuck? Why? Why not just put it on your phone?
Right. And it's funny that you say that because I literally had this type of conversation with one of my older brothers. Like, I don't know how many years ago, but my older brother Colby is, yeah, sure. Fuck it, I'll have a Primo. That ain't my bitch. No, but my brother Colby is 5 years older than me, so he was like kind of at the tail end of the iPod cell phone thing, and I was at the front end of the cell phone music on one device thing, and me and him are talking. And he was heavy duty like iPod, like, and he was like, I just like having my iPod because I have my iPod on this one thing. It's my music. I pay for the shit. It's on here, and it doesn't fuck with my phone. And I'm like, but being a smartphone growing up sort of fella, I was like, but you can have them on the same thing. Just do the one thing.
I actually literally still can't get my mom to make the leap. So she has a smartphone, but for some reason, my little brother, who's 21 or about to be 21, somehow my little brother has been able to convince her that Android is better. Plus, my mom can't remember her iTunes login information.
I will say though, the one thing about the iPod is that people were actually still somewhat buying music then.
Yeah, because you had to download them for like 99 cents.
Yeah, and then put it on your iPod.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Where now it's the fucking subscription.
Which the subscription is better for the consumer.
Absolutely, 100% better for the consumer,
and it's fair for the consumer because I'm spending at this point now it's $20 a month for me and my wife, plus we get Apple TV. It'd be $15 a month if we just did the music.
Yep.
Which is, if you think about
which I do.
If you think about it though, that's as if I were buying an album a month. Remember when we were a kid, they were $12.99.
Yep.
Which, if you increase for inflation, literally when we were kids, albums, CDs at Target were $12.99. That was the standard price for a CD.
Right.
Remember that?
Yep.
The increase for or adjust for inflation, we're probably actually looking at about $20.
Yep.
So as a consumer, if I spend $20 a month on iTunes, that is an equal and fair, in fact, a better deal for me than anything. But here's the point. The world has given me free access.
Right.
iTunes, Apple has given me not free access, $20 access
Yep.
to the entire
To
world's
everything.
library.
Yep.
I still don't do that.
Right.
I still listen to the music I like.
And are
like,
those
I'm
people
still-
benefiting from that subscription?
I don't know, but
They're not.
here's my point. I'm not actually listening to a new album's worth of music every 30 days as if I were to go to Target and buy a new CD. I'm just not doing that.
Right.
So here's my point. It's almost like listening to the radio, but by choice and design.
Yeah.
So instead of me listening to whatever 93X decides, I go back and listen to the same Coheed albums. I go back and listen
Yep.
to the same Misery Signals albums, Metallica albums, so on and so forth.
Yep.
The difference is BMI and ASCAP were able to make sure that you got your proper
Yep.
pay per radio play.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now that is further refined down to like a fine-tooth comb down to per listener stream because it's a unique IP address, right? It seems like you're getting paid less.
Yeah.
But I wonder how the math actually works. Like, and I'm not smart enough to do this, but like, think about it.
Are you getting stream more, or are you getting more radio plays?
Right. And okay, one radio play equals 100,000 people listening to it at once.
Yep.
But that's just once.
Right.
So getting 100,000 streams
It's tough.
It sounds like you're getting fucked over when you only get, what is it, 2/10 of 1 penny or some shit per
I think it's like
crazy.
6/100ths of a cent or something
Right.
like
It
that.
sounds crazy low.
6/10 of a cent.
But I wonder if it still funnels back down because there's a lot of money at stake
Yep.
in this industry.
I want to know how much money that the guy that owns Spotify is making.
Oh, a lot. Just like the guy who owns the radio
Yeah.
stations. Just like the guy who owns the record labels.
Exactly.
But I've been listening and been thinking about this for a while. I think NFTs are going to officially kill the record business. Because now you're going to be able to blow up on your own or even just build a small platform, right? Sell NFTs, basically crowdsource
Yeah.
your own shit. Because that's really the last bastion of what a label can do for you. Is they
Basically-
do two things: fund you and promote you.
So an NFT is basically a digital transaction for a digital product. Correct?
A unique, unreplicatable digital product. So
Digital
it's-
file, I suppose, technically.
yes, but it's like, how do I explain
Because
this?
I am not well versed in
It's a very convoluted and confusing thing. The entire concept of an NFT is incredibly confusing. I totally get it, but I'm not experienced or smart enough to explain this properly yet to other people. Because it's also a fluid thing. It'd be like trying to describe social media right as we're beginning to even understand the concept of a download.
right.
It's like, man,
So
this shit is
will
like...
NFTs
Let me put it this way. Here's the best way I heard it explained to me, and this still might fly over a lot of people's heads, but this is the simple. Otherwise, we'll spend 2 more hours on just this one idea.
Yep.
Here's the best way it was explained to me. The NFTs, the last bastion of hope that a label has ever been able to give you was, originally it was distribution, right? Getting your fucking, because of Napster and all the other shit, right?
Yep.
The only thing labels really had then was getting your store in Target, in Walmart, in Best Buy.
On the
It
radio.
was distribution.
Yep.
No, it was your physical CD in stores.
Sure.
Right? Otherwise, you were stuck at fucking Down in the Valley,
Right.
right? Or Cheapo or whatever.
Yep.
Then they were somehow able to pivot, and now is what they really provide is funding. Right, they give you money like an investor.
Yep,
it's like Shark
loan.
Tank.
Yep.
But it's like Shark Tank. It's not an angel investor. It's not a loan.
Yeah.
No, they own you. They own part of you. So it's way worse. It's way darker.
360 deals, all that bullshit.
Yep, exact. Right. Okay. So then it was like, well, promotion, right? Like, because we still have the networks, we still have this. We can push your music to a higher level than you can.
Right.
And that's what they do now. I learned this since you came on the very first time and explained to me about these playlists.
Yep.
Is what I learned.
Spotify.
What I learned is the record labels are the ones deciding who makes it onto those playlists.
The editorial playlists.
Yes. So you're never making it on how you get those 10 million streams, you already have to be in the club.
Yep.
You're never getting there.
It's literally, I shouldn't say literally, but it's basically, Spotify is basically the radio. It literally is.
Yeah.
It
exactly.
basically is the radio.
Now, so
it's just on your phone and you can listen to it whenever you want. But
here's the catch.
as far as from a record label music business standpoint, and
that's all
putting out
because of
music,
money.
it's the same. It's literally the same thing.
But that's
as the
all
radio.
because of money, and it's because they figured out how to refunnel everything back to them, right?
Yeah.
So the way you make money by streaming is to get on these playlists.
Yep.
The reason these playlists are successful is because these record labels are the ones that are the major shareholders of Spotify.
Right.
Okay? So they are refunneling everything back to them. The way NFTs will disrupt that is because of that funding. Meaning, if you build a good online platform, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, iTunes, Spotify, blah, 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 blah. You have the ability, Patreon, you have the ability to issue NFTs, right? Which are going to be, it's as if, the best way to explain it is, okay, you painted the Mona Lisa, which is the true original. You own that outright, okay? However, you're going to make you, not some other asshole, you're going to do 500 reprints of the Mona Lisa. Okay?
Right.
But there's only 500 of them, and they're true and real because they're from you. And you're going to give that to your fans.
Yep.
You're going to sell these prints, these NFTs, to your fans. They own that now. It's not as if they're downloading a 99-cent track from you that you still own.
But you no longer own that.
Right, but it's just that copy you don't own. You still own the original.
So it's like selling a CD.
Sort of. But they have the right to redistribute that on for real. But they've paid way more than a 99-cent downloaded track. Right. They might pay $1,000 for it. Right. Because now they can do whatever the fuck they want with it, including relicense it somewhere else.
Right.
But it's just their version.
Yep.
They don't have any rights to the other 499 versions. Well, now you've just raised $500,000 because you sold 500 of these for $1,000.
Right.
And you actually, because the way you're able to write these deals, these NFTs, you actually still retain 80% of that profit. They only take 20, whereas the record labels take 80 and you only get 20. Right. So now you've been able to financially disrupt what's happening at the top of the game by the opposite of disenfranchising, right? You're franchising your fans and supporters and giving them ownership in your success.
Right.
Now you're able to gain funding for your own shit. And if you blow up, you can sit there with your fans and celebrate because y'all are the ones that invested in this from the beginning. That's the best way I've ever heard how this new NFT thing is going to go.
That's very interesting.
That may not even be 100% accurate, but I know and follow some real motherfuckers, and I got some good mentors, and that's basically how this is going to go down. And it's going to change just like YouTube did, right? Just like everything did. That's kind of the general overlying concept of how these NFTs are going to go down and how they're really going to end up helping artists and getting rid of your corporate overlords, so to speak, in the music industry and entertainment industry. And you're already seeing it, man.
Yeah,
You've already been seeing it.
You are. You know, people are
like, think about it this way. That music video you made, the one that's on YouTube.
Yep.
You own that outright. You made that. You paid for anything.
Right.
But you have the ability now to either take that exact thing or a version of it, maybe you re-edit it slightly, and sell that to somebody for any amount you choose. But they own that copy and the right to do whatever they want with it, unless part of the thing is what you're actually buying is
percentage 20 or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Exactly, right?
Yeah,
same thing with the fucking
that's interesting.
all your TikTok shit, like any of that shit. You like one video that goes viral, 3, 5, 10 million views. You could sell that as an NFT to a guy.
So in a sense, you're monetizing a view in a way, you know, because I mean, you can still view that thing or whatever. You can see it, but instead of subscribing to it necessarily, like now you can give a monetary compensation for what that individual thing is.
Here's a great example. You paint the Mona Lisa and you sell it to a musician, or you do, let's go back to the prints, right? You paint the real Mona Lisa, but before you sell the real Mona Lisa to anybody, if you ever do, you make 500 prints and you sell those 500 prints to 500 museums.
Right.
Those 500 museums are now allowed to turn around and charge admission to view your reprint of the Mona Lisa.
Okay. God, it's just all so fucking...
I know, right? Right? But when you explain it that way, it makes sense.
It does make sense.
That actually starts to make sense.
It puts a somewhat
now.
of a physical aspect to it, which your mind can wrap around. It's just the digital and being able to constantly replicate and view at any particular moment is where it makes NFTs so confusing. And it's like,
let's do a hilarious
I
version.
can still see that, but that person owns it.
You sell me an NFT of the music video Fallen. And then I turn around, because now I own this version of this music video.
Yep.
And I turn around and I get my very good After Effects buddy and does fucking special effects for movies and shit to turn all your faces into literal heads of penises. Okay? Now it's a separate piece of art that I can redistribute where nobody even knows who this band is.
And depending
on
the
the music is in there, even though all this is in there, I don't have to worry about, because I paid you $4 million for this NFT.
Right.
I turned all your faces into actual heads of penises, you know, with the little mushroom cap whole thing. And I can do whatever the fuck I want with that content.
Yep.
No one can come after me because I paid you. It's sort of like a license, but
yeah, in a
it's
sense,
hard to explain, man.
It really is kind of like a license. You know, it's like when you have,
but it's like forever.
It's like when you pay.
It's not a 20-year license or a 1-year license.
It's like when you have your person that does artwork for you.
Sorry,
do
I've
the
been
artwork for
all over you trying to explain.
No,
I apologize.
Right.
This is the problem with Jared. When I get an idea in my head and I feel like I'm not explaining it well enough, I will continuously pick new analogies or reiterate those
until it lands
until
home.
I have beat that fucking horse to death, and either everybody's on board now, or I've burnt everybody out in the room, and I'm the only one into this anymore.
Sure.
And I apologize, because that is a huge flaw of mine that I discovered a while back. Never been able to fix.
It just reminds me of like when we talk to Ava, who does artwork for a lot of our stuff, or even Joe DeRocher, he's done some artwork for us
and
too.
If you guys disagree with my description of what an NFT is, please put that in the comments. Eat me alive, talk
Let
shit,
us know.
Discuss amongst yourselves, educate us, because that's a huge part of us having these discussions. Is we think we know what we're talking about, but really
we don't.
We all just want to get smarter and better so we can all help each other and our own individual selves be more successful in the long run. The rising tide raises all ships type deal.
But you pay for that artwork and you can do whatever the fuck you want with it.
That's essentially the idea. But I could sell you the artwork and then I can sell somebody else the artwork, because they're digitally different, like almost like a serial number, right? They're different pieces of art. But what
Right.
you do with this is separate from what he does with this. And I can sell one NFT or I can sell 500 NFTs. And it's just a digital version
Now,
of like a
what I'm
reprint
wondering,
of a real piece of art.
so you change the video. We'll say we're talking about a music video. You change the video so we all have penises on our head
Because I think it's funny.
because it's hilarious.
That's the only reason I would ever do that.
However, the music is still the same. So are we still collecting royalties on that music?
It depends on how that NFT was purchased, right? So maybe
Sure.
yes.
So
Maybe I owe you 80% of all profits, and it doesn't matter why. But I can do anything I want with this piece of art.
So it seems to me like it would make sense coming from a business standpoint of the artist, where it's like, well, I'll make a NFT, or we'll make the music video, and we'll turn the music video into 500 NFTs, and we'll sell them for, whatever X amount of dollar, and you can do whatever you want with that, but we get 50% of that.
If you redistribute it.
Yeah,
And,
if you resell it, we get 50% or 20%, whatever.
and believe it or not, it's incredibly easy to track that now because it's digitally encrypted.
Right. But
right?
the thing is like,
unlike a licensed painting where you would have to find me fucking you, and you would have to like go through. You see what I'm getting at? Now the algorithms can go, hey, we noticed this encrypted piece, this encrypted NFT being used over here, generate, and our search engine and Autobot grabbed that and pulled it, and everything's just automated. So you just get checks. This is what ASCAP used to do.
Make so much sense to me, though.
BMI used to do for us.
Right. It seems to make so much sense to do that, though, and it seems like so, like almost like obvious to why haven't we already been doing that? Because you're paying for the thing that you didn't already have.
Mm-hmm.
You pay your X amount of dollars, and it's like, okay, I can turn around and sell this and do whatever I want with it, and I'll get my 80% for it that I didn't have before, and it's just a digital thing that I'm just basically redistributing myself.
But it provides
in my
a limited
own artistic.
But it provides a limited digital quantity of something, right? So think of it this way: like maybe you're one of those guys who went and bought the very first version of the Black Album at midnight the night it came out in 1991, and we've later found out that there was something special and unique about that version of that album, and there's only 50,000. Though the 10
that makes
million
more sense.
The 10 million that have been sold since then, it's all the same music.
So
but
you could
this album is lit, and I have every fucking right to turn around and sell that vinyl record on eBay for $1,500.
Right.
And Metallica doesn't get to come back to me and go, "Hey, fuck boy."
Okay, that analogy makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Now that puts it in a way more perspective. Where it's like you're at the store the night of it drops. There's only 20,000 copies. You were one of the first 20,000 that got it. You can still go.
You held on to it for 20 years.
You can still go to Walmart and buy it. Mm-hmm. Go to YouTube and watch it. It's still available, but you don't have one of those first 20,000 copies. That makes perfect sense.
And it's just a way to do that on a digital side of things. Because we can still do this now, a limited release of the Issues' new album in vinyl. I got one over there from the Grand Machine from my boy Glenn Wadey. Brought me a very limited quantity of his record on vinyl, and it's colored.
Yep,
it's a color. I think it's yellow or orange. It's beautiful. It's a very special limited thing. Very, very special, and that's all they're doing now is they're figuring out a way. How do we do this digitally? How do we make it so your music is no longer worthless in a digital platform?
That's so much better for the artist.
And you can do this as a new artist. Maybe you do only have 5,000 fans across the entire globe. Okay. And maybe only 500 of them are willing to pay anything. But you give them an NFT of your new album, but you do it as a crowdfunding, right? So kind of like GoFundMe.
Yeah.
But now they know they're not just getting pre-access. It's not just the exclusivity of getting it first. They're the only ones that actually own a copy, because everything this entire we're going to sell $5 copies of NFTs to the 500 of our 5,000.
Yep.
That's $2,500.
Yep.
We can record a decent album on $2,500.
Yep.
Those 500 people are the only ones that actually own the album now. Everybody else just gets to stream it on Apple or Spotify.
Yep.
And maybe you include something extra with it. A fucking poster.
Right.
You know, maybe a digital JPEG that doesn't come with anything else. And again, they can print this. They can even fucking sell it.
Yep.
Because they paid for it. They helped you make your shit dope.
It totally makes sense.
Right?
Yeah, it really does. And, you know, because
people
are always...
that way.
If it's explained that way. But, you know...
And again, I'm not pretending I'm smart and, like, you guys aren't getting it. This is the best way I've heard it explained to me. And now we're kind of expanding on it.
And it makes sense to me because it's like, okay, you know, you ask me, how can I support the band? You know, I've bought your T-shirts. I've bought your physical CDs at your shows. I've subscribed to your YouTube channel and follow you on Instagram, but I really like your band and I want to support you as much as I can. I'm willing to do this, blah, 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 blah. It just seems to me like an NFT has opened that avenue of support to a level that it wasn't before, and that was basically non-existent at all. Because
on the digital side.
On the digital side, because it's like, you know, realistically, nobody's buying albums anymore. Obviously, people like you and I, we still like albums, so we go and buy albums. But if we're talking as music consumers,
I mean, I actually don't, but I get what your point
I don't
is.
either. But occasionally, I'll fucking stop in at a record store, or if I'm walking through Walmart or Target, I'll stroll through just to see if something catches my eye, you know. But odds are pretty slim I'm buying a hard copy, and I'm going to Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. So I just can't find a place where, as this begins to unfold, where artists won't be jumping on this left and right. And a guy's just got to figure out how to be on the front end of it now.
Yeah, and I think is what we have to do is start getting creative about like the idea of exclusivity. So let's start thinking of ideas.
It's kind of like subscribing to your Patreon. It really is in a way.
Yeah, but
because like I give you this,
let's think of it this way.
But it's exclusive, and it, you know, I'll like subscribe to my YouTube channel. You'll see the regular shit, but I'll post the occasional random, you know, band video stuff that makes it worthwhile.
Yeah,
being
the behind the
subscribed
scenes
to
or the making of. Yep.
Yeah.
Your Patreon is basically a modern day fan club. That's what it is. I mean, literally back in the day, you would pay $5 or $10 or $20 a month or $100 a year or whatever it was, and it would be a mail-in thing to the Metallica fan club, you know, and they would mail you shit, you know,
right?
Like that's literally how it worked. And sometimes it was a letter, sometimes it was an announcement, sometimes it was early access to ticket sales, whatever,
Sure.
Right? Then they figured
something
out
signed, you know,
and now you can still be a part of Metallica fan club. Go to Metallica.com, join the Metallica fan club,
right?
And you get a special code where you get pre-access on Ticketmaster when Metallica announces their show in your town. You really do get to go to Ticketmaster and enter in a code and have the ability to access those concert tickets at a different time than a regular person,
right,
who just goes to Ticketmaster. The NFT starts bringing about a way to, and here's how I think we do it, right? We got to get creative about the idea of exclusivity. So maybe you release, we're going to do albums. We love albums, right? A collection of music. You do 15 songs on this album now. I'm just making up a number. Just follow me down this rabbit hole.
I'm with
5 of them go on iTunes. 5 of them go on Spotify. 5 of them go fucking wherever else. That's what I was going to say. The actual fucking radio.
Yeah.
So 93X gets 5 songs. Spotify gets 5 songs. iTunes gets 5 songs.
Yep.
And the only way you can get the entire collection is either through the Patreon, by being a certain tier subscriber, or by buying the actual NFT. And maybe the fucking NFT is only $15, just like it would have been back in the day. Just like if you were to download every song for 99 cents.
Right.
A very fair price.
But that's $15.
But now you're also the only motherfucker who has all 15 songs in one place.
Right.
And when you buy it as this NFT, you can put it on your you can upload it to your phone. Yep. Android, iPhone, doesn't matter. Fucking do whatever you want with it.
You can make a video and put it on there.
Yeah.
You know, shit
you fucking
like that.
use it as background. You bought this shit. It's your own deal.
It's yours.
Yeah, it's fucking yours, man.
I do like that. That's being thought of, and we're figuring out a way to do that.
If you treat it like a regular album, you can't profit off of it.
Right.
But it's still yours.
Yep.
Like, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it.
Yeah, I honestly think that analogy of the first 20,000 copies, you know, that's a great analogy for that.
And I just think there needs to be something special about it.
Yep.
In order, like way back in the day, they were called imports. I don't know if you remember this, but because this is honestly, it actually is before my time. But there'd be an album that came out, and then there'd be an imported version of it, right? So it means it was a version of the album that was released in Europe with an extra track or two, and then was imported back to the United States.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of Metallica albums where there's an import you can buy where they have a cover. Like, there's a cover on Injustice for All. There's a cover on Master of Puppets. Not on the U.S. release.
Not on the
it's
US.
on the import.
Right.
That was a point of exclusivity. That's what we should be doing with an NFT. And that's what I've been trying to explain to people with a hard copy album. You can still sell hard copy albums, but you better do fucking something extra with it.
That's
than
like
what's
the
on
GNR.
iTunes.
It's like the GNR album. There's only so many of the first like actual original Appetite artwork.
Yeah, or even if it's the same exact 10 songs that are on iTunes, then the NFT includes the behind the scenes making of video. So when you buy the NFT from us, not only do you get all the same songs on iTunes, right? You get an actual behind the scenes making of video of the album.
Right.
And all the videos that we're about to release that no one else has even seen yet.
Right.
Because they're all 6 months out as part of our promo campaign. But you get them all right now. For 15 or 20 bucks.
Because there's
got to
be some there's got to be some sort of incentive, you know, for people to spend the extra money and invest in your band.
And whether it's like you said, whether it's a limited quantity of 20,000, or it's what I'm saying right now, these are just random examples of things you might consider where there's extra shit on here. Like, you can't get these music videos on Spotify. You can't get these music videos on iTunes. Right? You'd have to go to YouTube, but YouTube, you have to wait till when we drop them.
Yep.
On the NFT, you get everything up front, day one. Yep. Even if it's not a limited quantity.
And it's yours.
It matters.
It's yours. It's on your phone. Yeah. You can watch it whenever the fuck you want.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe you charge $40 for the NFT, and it includes a mailed to you copy, physical pressed version of the album too. You can do whatever the fuck you want with an NFT.
Well, it's just
that's kind of the point.
I've been hearing a lot about it. I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff, and NFTs have been a hot topic, you know, as of, I would say, the past 6 months to a year. It's been talked about a lot. And I just never really
doesn't know what we're talking about.
it.
NFT stands for non-fungible token, which really means like non-redeemable item. That's what it really means. Fungible is a word for redeemable.
Yeah.
So non-fungible token literally is just a fancy way of saying it's like a non-redeemable item. Which that doesn't really even make sense. As you actually think about that, but it's basically a unique thing.
Yep.
Like,
just quantifying a digital thing. We're basically, people, what we're saying is we're trying to explain shit that we don't know anything about.
Exactly. We're trying to explain and talk out ideas that we don't actually understand, because here's the deal. You guys don't understand it either. None of us do. So let's figure it out together.
It's a new thing. Let's figure it out. Let's try and figure out a way that it benefits all of us.
I think there's exactly 18 people in the world that actually understand what an NFT are, because they're the ones that created it.
Right.
They're going to be the next wave of billionaires. But the faster the rest of us all get on the same page and use this as like something that not only we can utilize but weaponize to make our bands more successful and profitable, that's huge, because if our bands are more profitable, that means more of us can continue to do music without having to make the choice.
You just have to figure out avenues of revenue, and if that's another avenue of revenue, you got
And this is important.
It is.
Because
especially
have
because
to be
everything
profitable.
is digital now.
If every musician operates as a loss, nobody would ever want to hire you as a musician. So you got to be profitable, man. You got to be able to make money to keep your band together. Otherwise, people have to make the choice.
Owning your shit is so important now, and everybody knows that. So if this is a way to make it go so more people can operate under an independent basis, I think that's fantastic.
If you're a real band like you guys are, that is. If you're some asshole like me, and and like maybe I write a song, and someone's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll you can keep 100% of it, and I'm gonna put it in all these random spots, or I'll give you 100 G's up front."
Yeah.
Here's the thing: if that's one of my band's songs where it's like part of our art, 100 G's up front, I don't know, man. Like that sounds like a lot of money right now, but it's really kind of not. But if I don't give a fuck about that song and I'm just sitting down here dicking around, right?
Right. Well,
And
are
I
you
just
paying that 100 G's back, or
No, you're just gonna give me 100 G's and you just own the song.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I'm doing that. 'Cause I don't give a fuck about that song. That's a song I wrote literally dicking around. And I was like, oh, this is kind of catchy, but like I would never perform this on stage. I would never put my name on this. This is not something I would perform. This is exactly the type of song I sell outright. I don't want 100%. I don't want any percent of this unless I think this song is going to make $1 billion over the next 10 years. Then maybe $100,000 is a ripoff, but $100,000 up front, because what I'm thinking in my head is, man, 100 G's. Okay, if I can scale this, if I can do 10 of those a year.
Right.
That's less than one a month. And that's $1 million a year. I'm pretty sure and that's what I mean. How much does that song? If you're a real band, I agree with you 100%. But if you're just some random asshole like me who's not in a real band,
if you can make a buck, you're gonna make a buck.
I'm making that buck, bro.
Well, and that's what you do as if you're just a songwriter working for Joe Blow's songwriting company and you're kicking out songs left and right, and you're just like, all right, here's this song, and so buys it and fucking does whatever with it. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, and I don't even want to get into fucking selling distribution and all that shit, because that's I barely understand any of that shit either. And I understand fucking that
it's
stuff
tough,
a little bit more than the NFT thing, but not by much.
Yeah, I do too. We've obviously been down that path a little bit more as we release more music and are pushing shit.
But I'm saying distribution on like publishing and shit. Like it gets weird when you start working with real publishing
sync licenses and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it's like when you start working with certain companies at certain
sync
scale,
licensing.
Were you in a position where you were like, okay, we got to look at this because again, maybe we don't want to own 100% of this. Because again, like when you start, I don't know. I don't even know if I feel comfortable talking about this.
Our sync licensing, the deals
Explain to people what sync licensing is, because I think a lot of people don't know what that term is.
Sync licensing is when a TV program or movie or something, we'll say like Fox Sports license some of our music. Basically what that means is Fox Sports, over the course of whatever period of time your contract is for, has access to this music and will pay you whatever your contract is set up for. So either a certain dollar amount per stream, a percentage, an upfront fee for access over X amount of time, X amount of months, years, whatever the contract is set up for. But basically, a sync licensing allows you to make some money off of your music being played in radio, or not in radio, in TV, movies, commercials, shit like that. So companies just license your music for a period of time or for a lifetime, depending on the contract. And anytime, we'll say Fox Sports, for example, anytime they use your song in their program during a football game or for a commercial or whatever, you get paid cha-ching, a percentage every time that song is played. So people call sync licensing deals mailbox money, basically.
Yep. And basically,
You get in a TV
old
show
school terms, it was royalties. And
Right.
these were regulated and figured out by either a record label and at worst it was ASCAP and BMI.
Yep.
And these are royalty agencies that police everything down to a karaoke bar,
Yep.
a jukebox. This is why venues have to have entertainment licenses in America. Like
Yep.
if you want to just like literally, if you just want to plug in a cell phone to a PA and play Spotify, still you have to have an entertainment license.
Yep.
And that is regulated by ASCAP and BMI and other regulatory bodies to make sure those artists get fairly
Get
paid.
paid. Yep.
It's really that fucking simple, man.
It really is that simple. And you think about it from a non artist standpoint and you're like, oh, what the fuck? I gotta pay this overhead fee to have music in my venue. It's like, god damn it, but from an artist standpoint, it's like, god damn it, we gotta make money too. And like, I get the pain in the ass and stuff like that, but
That's like getting mad that you have to pay for the booze you serve.
right.
You're making money. Like,
That's
I'm not
what
going to
it's-
give you my beer for free because you sell it and it's good promo. No,
Yeah.
you buy the beer and you sell
And
it
then
at
you
an
turn around and
upcharge.
sell it. Exactly.
You
That's
fuck. What
you know.
the fuck are you talking about? My
Exactly.
music gets people loosey-goosey and makes them want to fucking party. And honestly, this is true all the way up to live music.
Yep.
Like a good band, a great band. This is one thing we prided ourselves on. And we were able to do this across the country, whether people knew our music or not. We were a true party band.
Right.
Meaning bars base everything. Okay, you're going to bring 500 people. I know the average person spends $20 at the bar.
Yep.
So that's that's 10 grand, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's 10 grand. That's how much I'm going to sell in booze at the bar
Right.
for the night. Now I can average this amount of profit, so I know I'm going to make whatever that night. That's how I pay my fucking mortgage as a bar owner.
Yep.
We were able, in most of the bands I was in, we were able to vastly outdo that number. And other bands would get mad at us because they didn't understand why we were able to get shows, like opening for nationals and
Right.
headlining certain nights, and we would draw like half of the amount of some of these other bands, like actual people through the door.
Yep.
Is what they didn't realize is
The people that
our
were there.
people spent $60 on average at the bar.
Right.
So even though we drew half of your people,
Yeah.
the
They're still
bar
spending
was
more.
actually making 30%
Right.
more than
That's-
they made on you.
And honestly, that's the type of band we are too. People that come to our shows, they like to drink and party and have a good time.
And you draw well, so it's
Right.
extremely alluring.
Right.
This is what Hairball does.
That's exactly what Hairball does.
Also draws the same amount as your band. But when people go see Hairball,
Hairball
they're
draws way
dropping
more than
hundos at the bar.
yeah.
They're spending $200 at the bar.
Yeah.
Like they're making the bar way more money than your cool
Oh, shit,
artistic
yeah.
local band. Sorry, bud. Like I'm not talking to you right
Yeah.
now. The
No, yeah, I know
you
exactly what you're talking about. And that's,
It's fucking business, dude.
It as much as you hate to say it and you can dance around it all you want, but it still comes back to business and money. And music, yes, it's an artistic platform and this, that, and the other thing, but people aren't gonna fuck with it if there's no money involved. And,
Yeah.
and you can bitch about it all you want, but it's just the reality we live in. And are certain things unfortunate that they have to be the way they are within the music industry? Yeah, it is. It's fucking bullshit. But you know what? Life is bullshit. So get over it. That's my fucking mentality.
Get
man.
over it.
Fucking get over it.
And you know what? It'll
your
fucking
shit.
buff out, bud.
it will buff out.
It'll fucking
Just-
buff out.
It just drives me nuts when people, within, artists and stuff, at a more local scale, they bitch about spending money on this and doing that and the other thing, and it's like, you know, it's the same thing as people, you know, going to Spotify and just paying the monthly thing and, you know, doing whatever. You got to pay for your shit if you want to get anywhere, and you got to put a little bit of money into promoting the band. You got to put a little bit of money into having production. You got to put a little bit of money into your gear to make sure it fucking sounds good. You got to invest in yourself. Yep. And investing in yourself isn't just the instrument you're playing. It's the fucking money that you're putting into putting your band out there. So if you got to spend a little money to get on the radio, to get on a playlist, to get on YouTube, get in front of people, it fucking sucks. It's not enjoyable. It's not like, can't wait to spend $100 on a radio promotion thing or whatever. That shit sucks. I'd rather stick that money into a new guitar. It's part of the fucking game, you know?
And if you're not investing that money, then you have to be investing your time into the right relationships.
Right.
Which is a whole other type of work, right?
Right.
It costs way more time to build a relationship than it does to make enough money to buy your way into something.
Yep.
So like, we'll fucking vilify people for that shit.
Yep.
Oh, he didn't earn it. He just paid his way into it. Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is that is way more efficient, because it might take you 2, 3, 4 years to build the network you need to pull the strings you want. Whereas this dude was able to just go grab 3 extra jobs for 2 years,
right,
instead of 3, 4, 5, and just pay for the fucking ad,
right?
Because both of y'all's music is that dope. But to become friends with somebody to where they're gonna do favors or give you a discount or whatever the situation may be, though, it's all an investment. Whether it's literal dollars or it's time or energy, I think you're 100% correct in what you're saying.
But the people that are successful,
you're 100% correct.
The people that are successful are the ones that are putting the time and the money into it. They're putting the money into the shit that sucks, and they're putting the time into their craft, writing the good songs, all that stuff. Yeah. It's like your good songs and your talent, you know, it might be a hard pill to swallow, but it'll only get you so far, especially in the modern age that we're in now. You used to be able to play clubs and tour around, make your money. Somebody might see you, they'd pick you up, and your career would grow from there. Odds are pretty fucking slim that that's going to happen nowadays. It's just not going to happen. So even if you're some local band and you're just trying to play music and have a good time, you know, that's all fun. But still, even if you want to be successful in and of that, you have to invest in whatever that is a little bit, you know, even if it's just your gear to sound better, to have a better time when you're playing your shows. Yeah. I don't know. I get frustrated
about better
about
time listening to your shows.
Make it a whole better experience for everybody,
or to make you stand out from the other bands. Because maybe, like we started this conversation, right? Like maybe you're the third band out of 4, and most of those people are here to see the 4th band, the headlining band. How do you make yourself stand out from everybody else?
Right.
One of the best ways to do that: dope fucking gear, so you fucking sound
better.
Dope as shit. And that costs money.
And
so go get the extra side job. Go get the extra day job. Or borrow some money. Yeah. Or fucking, you know, wheel and deal, hustle, eBay some shit. Buy some used video games at a yard sale. Sell them on eBay. Do whatever the fuck you got to do, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think is what we're really boiling this last conversation down to is resourcefulness.
Yeah.
How resourceful are you? And I think that just simply comes down to how bad do you want it, right? Kind of going to the ego thing. Like, where do you view yourself?
Right.
Are you going to accept defeat, or do you think better of yourself?
Right.
And how bad do you want that? Because if you fucking want something bad enough, every single human on this earth, like I said at the beginning of this, is a genius at one thing.
Right.
But man, when you get desperate, you get resourceful. And when you get resourceful, you get fucking creative to a new level that you didn't even know existed in your own self.
Exactly.
So now you're redefining your own ego, and you find depth and strength and true health. And And this resourcefulness that you found because you really wanted it, every person is creative. Every person is capable. It's just a matter of not desperation.
Yep.
But how bad do you want it? Because if you really want it bad enough, I have seen people do some incredible things, my dude. Some incredible things. And when they did those things, they were better. And the people in their lives were better off as well.
Yep. And sometimes, sometimes fear almost plays a role in that, where it's like, myself personally, it's like my biggest fear is just my personal biggest fear is like just being a guy in the small town doing the same thing that I've always done, and I didn't give this everything I had. Not saying that, like, I'd be very happy, just farming, living out small town nowhere, nobody knows who I am. I don't have to deal with bullshit. I'd be very happy just doing that. But I would not be happy knowing that I didn't at least try chasing this fucking dragon, down the hole. If I didn't give it, maybe I'll get 10 years, 20 years down the road and be like, hey, I gave it my best shot. I put all the resources I had into it, and I didn't make it.
Dude,
okay, I can go back. I can go and, play music and satisfy that itch.
So hard, dude.
But if I were to quit now or in 5 years from now, and know in my mind when I quit that I didn't give it all I had, didn't put the resources that I had in front of me to their fullest potential, didn't use all that stuff. If I left that on the table and quit, that would eat me alive for the rest of my life.
It's leaving a what if on the table.
Right.
That is one of my biggest fears as well. And it's not even one of my biggest fears, because I got way bigger fears than that. I mean, truly biggest fear, dying alone. Like literally dying alone is my biggest fear.
That should be a lot of people's
second biggest fear, which I don't know if I'll have the ability to confirm or not, is however I die, no one goes to my funeral. That's my second biggest fear. For real. Like my second biggest fear is that no one shows up to my funeral.
That is,
First is dying alone. Second is no one goes to my funeral. Okay. But that what if thing, it's a huge fear of mine, but that turned into a driver. Because I remember being a kid being like afraid to ask a girl out, right?
Yeah.
But that's exactly what would go through my head. Like, I don't want to be here at 35 years old and like never had the balls. So I literally developed something called the fuck it.
Yeah.
And it was like in those moments of fear where I was too scared to ask the girl out.
Yep.
But I would immediately go, yeah, but dude, you don't want to be 35 years old going, what if you would have asked Felicia out that night?
Right.
Go ask her fucking out.
Just ask her out.
And then I'd go, fuck it. And then I just go do it.
Yep.
Like I would literally I would realize if I continue to debate this and think about this, it's never going to fuck it.
Right.
Fuck it. Go. Do it now. And dude, same thing on stage, right? Same thing when you're a brand new musician and you walk out on stage and like right as you hear that fucking, whether the lights drop or whatever, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so fucking scared. Fuck it.
Yep.
Go out there and do it, because the last thing you want to do is be 60 years old, sitting in a wheelchair going, what if I would have tried a little bit harder doing this?
Right.
I agree with you so much, dude. It's
honestly,
man,
a huge driving factor, and it should be for everybody, because if you don't take chances, you never know what's going to happen. And not to just go like complete like inspirational and all this bullshit, but
but we're drinking.
There's so many. Well, I'm just saying, there's so many people that will tell you the odds of you making it in the music industry are practically non-existent. You're never going to be it. You're never going to be that guy. You're just some small town kid. You're never going to fucking make it. You're never going to be able to tour. And I think that's fucking complete bullshit, because somebody has to do it.
Right.
And if we all had the mentality that, oh, well, I can't do that. The odds are so slim. Well, if we all thought that way, then there would be none of us.
And that's also literally the opposite mindset of what being an American is supposed to be.
Right.
Like, no. This isn't medieval Europe where only the lords and ladies get to XYZ. No. This is fucking America.
Yeah.
Ooh, careful. Lean back. Don't lean forward. Lean back. Yep. Now twist your chair. There you go. Now lean forward. There you go. Oh, you lifted that bad boy right out of that
Good
Hercules
catch.
dip.
Damn near took down a guitar.
Dude, for real though, the entire idea of this fucking country is that you can do whatever you want if you're willing to work your ass off and
Hard
sacrifice.
Work. Yep.
Like that's the point of the country that we live in. That's why we've gone to these wars. That's
damn
why,
right, son.
That's why we've done this crazy fucking shit we've done here is for these moments, right? If it was only the people in Hollywood who were born into elite entertainment families that got to do these things, that would literally not be why any of this was done here on this
so
fucking
many
continent.
Opportunities available. I mean, it's it might be ignorant of me to say that, but it just seems to me like there's more opportunities available than the average person. It's just like there's access to shit, and I don't know.
I'm with you,
America, dude. Fuck yeah, bud.
Fucking America,
fucking America,
yeah,
bud. I'm full.
No, I'm with you, man.
I'm full on America. I know there's a lot of great countries out there.
Full America on your ass
America.
Right now. I will fucking go full America on
I'll
your
cheers
asses.
to that. I'll cheers to that.
Flag rockin' eagle, baby. That's a super deep.
I'm driving my Chevrolet pickup with the goddamn eagle in the back window, son.
Flag rockin'
Where that fucking
eagle.
Budweiser, boy? I'm
That
gonna
is-
learn you something today, boy.
Flag Rockin' Eagle is the deepest of Sunny cuts. If you guys watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, when
that's
Charlie
funny.
goes full America on everyone asses, Flag Rockin' Eagle is how he ends that song. That's the deepest Sunny cut you'll ever get. Listen, man, you wanted to get out of here at 9.
What time
It is
it?
10.
Oh shit!
We need to wrap this up, buddy. But
Time
this has
flies
been-
when you're having fun.
This has
man.
been such a great time hanging out with you
It's
tonight,
been
my
a great
dude.
conversation,
Honestly,
dude.
man, this is
I'll
even more
cheers you
fun
again.
than it was last time.
It
dude.
was.
Please
tonight
come
was
do this
great.
again. This was an absolute blast.
Anytime.
Thank you for asking to come on. It was a pleasure to have you. I'm glad we were able to make this happen. We were really worried about some last minute hokey shit going on, but I think it was worth it.
We buffed her out.
The new video, we fucking buffed it out, bud. She looks
It
fucking
always
good,
buffs,
man.
eh?
Little fucking Bondo, little buffing.
It'll buff.
Fucking prime coat right there. No, it's fucking. It was good, man. This was an absolute blast, dude. I'm honored to have you again. I'm a huge fan of your band.
Thank you, man.
For all the
Thanks
listeners,
for the support too. Appreciate it a lot.
absolutely 100%, man. That's
And thank all you fuckers in the chat and everybody watching tonight.
sure.
Thanks for the support. Appreciate it.
Literally, they're the ones that make all this happen. Because the reason I did this version of this podcast is because I know bands like you existed in this town before I met you. Because I grew up in this town.
Totally.
And this is a fucking dope place with dope musicians.
It's a great scene down here.
You can throw a fucking rock and find a great band.
Yep.
Like they're literally everywhere. So
lot
that's
of
why
good
I didn't
talent
do
in this town.
like a fucking Andrew Santino, Whiskey Ginger. Well, actually, he has guests. Never mind. That's a bad example. This is why I didn't do a Chris D'Elia.
Yeah.
This is why I didn't do a Bill Burr.
the Theo
This is why I
Von.
It's why I didn't do that one. It's not about me. I love having conversations like this with y'all because, man, this is fun, dude. And we don't get to do this at shows. That's the other thing is like at shows we're
right.
yelling at each other because it's loud.
It's loud.
You know, if you're
It's tough.
single, you're trying to get some pussy.
Right.
If you're not single, then you're trying to
You're
make sure
married,
nobody's
you're
trying to get your pussy. if you got a girl, there's other dudes hitting on your pussy. Like
Yeah, there's
pretty
that.
much like shows revolve around pussy.
Yeah.
No, it's a legitimate thing, dude.
It
And I'm
really is.
honored to have you on, man. I'm a fan of your band. I think you guys are dope. I want everybody that listens around the globe to go check you guys out. It's the
Thank you.
issue MN like Minnesota.com. So M is in Mary, N is in Nancy.
Yep.
TheIssueMN.com, and from there you can find everything. Spotify, iTunes, go check
Facebook,
these guys out.
Instagram, all our shit's on our website. It's all The Issue MN.
I
That's
love you
our
guys,
shit.
man. And anything I can do to help support you guys, I'm 100% in. And,
Bitchin'.
yeah, I love it, man. This was a blast.
Hit the
dude.
subscribe button on Jared's
Oh, yeah, do that
YouTube.
too.
And when you're done with that, go over to The Issue, hit subscribe on The Issue. Both of us, we always got shit going on. Jared's always doing his podcast. We're always putting out new tunes. Y'all rock.
Yeah, dude, this
Let's go.
was fucking fun, man. Yeah, he pretty much just said it all. JaredSinger.com. It's up now. It's not a great website. It's really just a glorified YouTube page, but it's still there. We're gonna have merch up soon. I got music coming out soon. I've been hard at work with all that. Go to their website, hit subscribe on this YouTube page, help us get to 1,000 subs. So YouTube will actually just give me a nickel every time we do a fucking podcast. That's all I want. I just want to collect my nickels. Man. I just want to collect my nickels, baby. No, for real. We love you guys, man. We really appreciate it. And yeah, we're not going to do a post show tonight, so don't worry about jumping in over on the Patreon immediately tonight.
Rock and roll.
Make sure you guys go watch their music video. And one last thing I want to add, the best, easiest way to support these local bands, if you want to support the issue tonight, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, find their albums or their music, whatever. Hit play, turn your music down.
Let that bitch run.
And literally just turn your phone down while it's charging and go to bed. And get these guys 8 consecutive hours of streaming.
Yeah.
On all their music, on all the platforms. That's the easiest thing you can do right now, tonight. The issue for Minnesota. God, I love you guys, man.
Thank you so much, dude.
Anything
Appreciate
I can do
it
to
a
support
lot.
you guys. I'm here
We're
for you,
out and
man.
about. Actually, quick too, before we
plug.
December 11th, The Issue is playing at the Southern Theater with Johnny O'Neill and Fuzzard, 2 badass rock and roll bands in the cities. We're stoked to be playing it with them. December 11th, if you go on our website and or our Instagram.
What's the website?
The Issue MN. You can find tickets, all that stuff. So appreciate the support.
Sure.
We'll see you at the Southern Theater on December 11th.
We love you, fuckers. Good night.